Hello, Matt. Welcome to the penultimate,
Penultimate.
almost near the end of Isekai Realm Season 2. Uh, and here is the team. I am Eric Scott to be playing Elric, Paladin of Helm in the Forgotten Realms, and hopefully continuing to be a paladin and not forsaking my oaths. I'm trying to be lawful good. It's hard, okay? It's hard. Anyway, I want to give a shout out to the Westgate Regulars Discord. We talk about this and other campaigns, and we have a lot of fun there. Come join us. There should be a link or something down in the doobly-doo. If you do !Discord, you'll get information about it. Take it away, Allie.
Hi, everybody. I am Alexander Pitchford here with you tonight with a new microphone. I hope you enjoy the sound. Anyway, I am playing myself, transformed into an elf, of course, and going by Amara Valerian. And yeah, I'm a writer, game designer, TTRPG streamer. And yeah, thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoy the ride tonight.
Hey, I'm Rhiannon Held. I write urban fantasy as Rhiannon Held and space opera is RZ Held. Tonight my back is better, but you may see me standing up to stretch it periodically, just FYI. And I have two dice partners to tell you about. Norse Foundry specializes in metal dice. When you roll them, it feels like you're skillfully smashing the rigid armor of the monster horde. You can find their dice and accessories at norsefoundry.com. Phoenix Dice is named for the creature that rises from the ashes because they use all recycled materials. You can find their dice and accessories at phoenixdice.com.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joel Everett, usually one of your mods, posting silly polls in chat under the handle Rumpus Imperator, and I am playing myself as a now level 5 fighter. Randy?
Hi, I'm Randy Henderson. I'm playing Bard of Finder and myself as a Bard of Finder, Randonius, Hendersonius, Maximus, Quintonius, the besterus, coolest. And on to you, Kris the Slay.
Yes, thank you. The name grows every single time we play the game. So, I am your consequential dungeon master, Kris, aka Kris the Grey, joining you this evening. And so I will give us a little bit of a summary as to where we left off in our not penultimate, pre-penultimate episode of season 2. The players had traveled out of the city of Waterdeep after spending a day there. Headed north along the high road and had discovered the Wild Stone, which is a shrine to Sylvanas, and used the power of the shrine to take a leap of faith and travel a long distance in a short period of time using the magic of the Oak Father. And again, I'll remind people that there is an entire video on Ed's Patreon and Ed's channel on YouTube that talks all about some of the things that we're going to do tonight, some of the people they're going to meet, some of the places they're going to go, and talked about the Wildstone Shrine that just coincidentally occurred right at about the time we did it. So that was
Kris is inordinately proud of how well he did with describing this ritual. One note for our viewers, since this is going to be broadcast at some point in the future from today, when exactly did this video come out?
This video came out at the beginning of November.
Okay.
2024.
Excellent.
Yeah, they're not going to see this until sometime in 2025.
Right. All right.
Provided the
So
world
we're speaking to you
on fire even
from
more than
the past.
From the past.
In the future, about the past. Anyway.
Time travel is so tricky. Anyway, so yes, that is where we left our heroes. And so I'm just going to leap right in and tell you where you are. You left in a particular order, but you will all arrive at once. So you'll all have sort of the same experience at the same time. And for a moment, it feels as though you're suspended in time, weightless, but then your feet gently touch down on solid ground. You have survived walking wild. And what's more, you're all in the same place. And what's more, it's not some horrifying dungeonscape. So, win-win-win.
Hey, we got it this time.
You got it this time. You've instead arrived on the slopes of a mountain where the dense, towering pines stand tall, their thick branches creating dappled patches of golden sunlight on the ground. The air is cool and fresh, and the surroundings are filled with the distant trill of birds and the ever-present whisper of the wind going through the forest. A deep sense of peace and comfort pervades this spot. In the distance, maybe a mile upslope from where you are, sits a large gray-stoned fort that almost looks like a monastery of sorts, but no obvious route from where you are to where it is exists. So you'd have to strike out on foot in order to get to that, which, by the way, is not your destination. Downslope, 2 paths stretch out before you. One trail is marked by a series of old stone cairns, moss-covered and engraved with the faint symbols of Sylvanus, weathered by time but still standing as reliable guards to that path leading to the right. And to the left, there is an unmarked trail that leads in a winding way downslope from where you are. You are searching for a place called Hidden Hail, where you are hoping to find a ship by the name of Glathra's Gauntlet and its captain to take you to the Rock of Bral. So
We couldn't be searching for a really easily signposted veil.
yeah, sadly, this one's hidden.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Everyone look for a spaceship.
Look for something you can't see.
Oh, I mean, it's a spaceship that looks like a sailing vessel. So
Yeah,
you
I was
know.
gonna say I do know of Spelljammer.
Well, a sailing
Don't-
vessel in the mountains? Yeah,
It's-
that's
don't-
going to stand out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't most of them have to land in water usually?
Ooh.
All
An
right, I'm going to
Maybe there's a
instant-
lake.
An instant later after your arrival, 2 things will occur. One, Ferris will poke his little head up from whatever papoose-like traveling bag that you have acquired.
Well,
for
it's
him
in
one of
the backpack. Remember?
It's
so-
specially
so-
designed,
yeah,
right?
viewing over your shoulder, right?
Yeah.
And Jamal will materialize in the air next to you, Randy. It took her a few moments to get from where you were to where you are. She'll nod. He'll make a chittering noise. Okay, what would you like to do?
I'm just going to look around and see if I see any floating airships.
There are no obvious floating airships in the immediate area. You suspect that path might lead you to one.
Yeah.
Off
Well,
we go.
mhm.
Okay, it appears as though Rhiannon is taking the lead.
Yep.
Boldly
Fair
going,
enough.
where no one has
follow
gone
Rhiannon.
Fall
before.
in. Fall
Okay.
in, yeah.
We'll just assume if she just starts walking, we'll assume she knows where she's going.
All right, I mean that's fair, right?
I
and
mean,
it's-
I mean,
The path, it
seems
looks
safe.
pathy, so
it does
she knows
look
about
very
as well as the
pathy.
rest of us do, so why
I
not?
mean, why not? That second path leads off to what you're kind of guessing from sort of looking around might be the northeast, curving gently down along the hillside as it goes. It's a more open route, passing through patches of tall swaying grass and low bush. It goes for about a quarter of a mile, so it takes you a few minutes to walk down it because you're moving cautiously, not just running pell-mell down the path. The tall grass is brushing against your legs as you walk gladiator style. Maybe, Randy, you're feeling a special affinity for this. As you descend, the ground becomes more level and the forest thickens. It's an untamed, heavily wooded area, although the narrow walking trail cuts through the trees, leading you down into what is some kind of a small valley. This must be Hidden Hail. The air is a little cooler towards the bottom, and ahead you see the fullness of the vale. It's a dell kind of nestled between 4 mountain peaks. The secluded valley feels like a hidden sanctuary with thick forests blanketing the hills, and a mountain stream, which empties into a small mountain lake. But it's kind of what's in the center of the lake that really catches your attention. For floating in the middle of that little lake is a massive wooden sailing ship, unlike any you've ever seen. Its sheer size.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of sailing ships. All right.
I don't know if you've seen one like this, but we'll see in a moment. Its sheer size, it's like best guess at the distance that you're at is that it's at least 250 feet in length. And imposing design sets it apart from a typical galleon or something like that, because it looks like a giant wood and metal hammerhead shark. It's clearly a spelljamming craft. designed for flying up there rather than just flying around here. The most distinctive feature being its hammerhead-like bow. The front of the ship, sort of juts forward like a giant shark with wide curved wings extending from either side of the front, and they're formed from what looks like maybe wood and metal, angular and smooth, giving it a predatory and powerful appearance.
Oh, so one of those space hammerheads. Okay.
Yes, one of those space hammerheads. Hull's crafted from what looks like maybe a combination, like I said, of darkly, richly polished wood reinforced with metal banding. And atop the deck of it, there's a single mast with the sails furled, and crew members who look tiny in the distance are moving about the deck. There also look to be a couple of ballistae and a catapult mounted in turrets on it. So it looks like it's ready to defend itself against any comers. Hopefully that's Glathra's gauntlet. So what would you like to do?
Let's head toward the hammer jammer.
Yeah, I think the first thing Amara is going to do is look at that thing and go, "Oh, that is so cool."
I mean,
he was right. I hadn't seen a ship quite like that before. No, nothing.
The narrator was right. Joel, you looked as though you were puzzling for a moment. Did you have something?
Well, I was just thinking about how a catapult would work in space, and then decided it wasn't worth thinking about too.
A wizard did it, right?
Yeah. We'll just
Maybe if you're lucky, you'll find out.
Hopefully not. Anyway.
So, do any of you have any way of seeing things closer than objects closer than they appear in the mirror, or are we all using our Mark I eyeballs to spot things in the distance?
I mean, I don't have anything.
Okay, so
I'm going to put the mask on. That doesn't help me with distance, but it does help me
tell
with
me what my
seeing
elf
hidden
eyes
creatures.
Yeah, I do. Nope, I did not bring my binoculars.
Why don't you all roll a 20-sided die for me?
Okay. Let me just...
I am going to ask Amara what her elf eyes see.
I figured you would. Come on, superior elf vision.
15.
I got a 2.
Okay,
13.
2's pretty good.
I only got a 16.
All right, 16. You're distracted by all the natural beauty. That's what it is. Your superior elf vision is honing in on these pine trees and that lovely doe over there.
Second edition thieves have detect noise, right?
Detect
but
noise,
they don't
nothing
have
about vision.
They don't have see hidden.
There isn't a spot hidden skill other than this roll. Okay. So with 1, 2 in the party, you've certainly gathered the information that I was going to have you all roll for, which is that the ship's sitting in the middle of a lake. So what are you going to do? Swim there? Oh, wait. It looks like there are a couple of figures seated near a rowboat. You can sort of tell that they're humanoid, one bigger than the other, that's sitting at the edge of the lake near to you. Apparently, that's how one gets from point A to point B.
Very sensible and practical.
Okay.
So you got a couple options here. You can sneak up or you can walk up.
I feel like sneaking up would be the poor way of making a first impression.
You know me, I'm just going to shoot him from a distance.
Seems fair.
So Amara's on team.
You shoot
Let's
him
go
some
talk to
flirty
them.
glances from a distance.
Jamal will chuckle at your remark, Randy. Ever the scamp. I'm sorry. So someone just said something.
Sorry, Allie said something.
Let's go talk to them.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
We're here to barter passage. So
Book passage. Yep.
Yeah.
We're walking right up. Now, to remind you, because again, it's been a while. Kris the Grey, when you met him rather accidentally in Skullport, told you about this place and told you about the captain of this particular ship, whose name is, moment please, Drance Velvrath. Drance Velvrath. You know that's a Ed Greenwood name the minute you say it.
It
I'm
is.
not going to remember how to say that.
100%.
Yeah. He mentioned, Kris the Grey mentioned that, you go to this shrine, you do this thing, there's going to be this ship, you ask this captain, blah, blah, blah. So maybe there's some connection there. That is just really good at knowing when random captains are sitting out in the middle of fields, which seems more dubious. So do with that bit of intel what you will.
Well, as we approach, presuming we approach,
you are approaching.
Raise the hands. I'll call out and greet them.
As
Hail and well met.
So it appears as though Allie is going to be doing the initial negotiation. Excellent.
Yep.
Seems like it.
As you approach the edge of the lake, Allie, before you you come close enough to be able to determine that these figures are couldn't be more different, but they're each sort of unique in their own way. One of them is a sort of weathered-looking human man in his 50s with, sort of suntan skin, a wiry, scrappy build, face a patchwork of scars with a single eye covered by a tattered black patch, long, unkempt gray hair tumbling out from beneath what is clearly some sort of a pirate hat adorned with a few bedraggled feathers, wearing a loose white shirt and a dark waistcoat with trousers tucked into these sort of stuffed, poofy, piratey boots, a sash of bright red tucked across his waist, in which there are at least 3 daggers and a cutlass. And he's leaning against the wooden rowboat, chewing on something. Maybe tobacco, maybe the remains of an unfortunate meal. Hard to tell which. And his mouth will sort of like break out into a lopsided grin as you approach and, yell your greeting. The second figure is something else entirely. A hulking, 7-foot-tall, anthropomorphic hippopotamus.
Yes.
Its broad, muscular frame clad in flamboyant leather armor dyed in rich blues and golds. Hippo-like face impassive, small, intelligent eyes eyeing you as you approach.
Oh, a GIF.
Across its barrel chest,
I think it's pronounced GIF.
I was going to make the joke, but yeah, that
is a bandolier bristling with what look like flintlock pistols. Their handles polished to a mirror shine, and he's standing with his massive arms crossed, one hand resting near the hilt of a huge cutlass.
Yeah.
So that's as you will say.
How big is the rowboat?
The rowboat looks like it could probably take 8 adults, or 1 GIF and 4 adults, something like that.
fair enough.
So you're approaching. You call out in greetings. They look at each other meaningfully and wait until you are within speaking range, which is maybe like 20 feet. They're kind of looking at you, looking at each other, sort of analyzing you up and down. And when you get in speaking range, the human man greets you with a piratey brogue, right? Well, what have we here, he drawls. A fine lot, looking all shiny and important. Coming up old Black Hands Lake. But far as I know, you ain't got no guests on the guest list. So what's your business, sightseeing, fishing, or something a bit more shiny?
We would like to speak to your purser about booking passage.
What a kind way to describe us.
I had started talking, and then I will look over.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought I was doing the talking. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I just make this motion like I didn't do it this time.
They're amused by you, talking over each other and whatnot, and asking to see the purser. The GIF will look down at the human man and kind of grumble something that sounded a bit like Passendorf, whatever that is.
Passengers.
Yes, Passendorf. That's what we are.
The human man will, wave off the GIF with a dismissive chuckle and say, aye, maybe they're passengers, Percy, but we got to be sure, don't we? Captain wouldn't want us just rowing out with anyone now, would he? So speak up then, friends. What brings you to this lovely little pond?
Well, we were hoping to speak with your captain about booking passage to the Rock of Bral.
Passage to the Rock of Bral, you say?
That's what she said.
So what color is your gold?
Mostly golden.
Gold
I would hope.
Color?
I find that my one good eye is a pretty good judge of color. He's looking at you meaningfully, like he wishes to see the goods.
Well,
Paladin is completely broke, so I'm not putting out any gold.
Last time we did this, Amara was the one entrusted with the gold, so she will pull she'll pull a coin out to show it, but she'll be sure not to show exactly how much we have in the purse.
Okay.
I'd say this is a fine example.
The little man will look at the big man, the big GIF, and he will say, "I'm only counting one, lass, and I'm counting 5 of you."
Well, that's what we're here to discuss. How much would you say it would be to book passage for all 5 of us?
Unless you're going to summon your purser.
Percy, what would you say it would be to book passage for all of them? The hippo, they're surprisingly jovial because it has a very deep, melodious laugh. Creatures of few words, it would appear. But it will grumble something under its breath that sounded suspiciously like captain. And your Mr. Blackhand will say, yes, Percy, the captain. Why don't you go get him then? And we'll wait here. Percy will grumble and get in the rowboat, which will precipitously decline into the water, worrying you a bit about whether or not it's going to be, flooded, but settle into something as he begins to row it across the lake. Yes.
A suggestion, good sirs, with my etiquette training. Would you like to take one of us as collateral?
They'll look at each other.
Elric?
I don't believe they understand the word collateral.
Elric, what are you doing? Why?
You realize he's probably hungry.
Just to make sure that we all remain peaceable and no conflicts break out on either side. We are simply fine folk who have met each other in the deep woods next to a mountain lake with a hammerhead shark-shaped ship floating in it. You don't know us, you don't trust us, but we would like to show a gesture of goodwill toward you.
It sounds to me, lad, like maybe you're trying to board our vessel, but if you'd like to have Percy take
it is a very fantastic-looking vessel. I would admit to being curious.
Would you be volunteering yourself then, tall one?
I am always keen to volunteer myself to leap into interesting situations. But you can take one of our others if you wish.
Jamal will shoot you a look, Randy, that says, I don't know what's going on here.
It's a look that's very similar to the look that's on Amara's face
right
now.
I don't understand what Elric is doing
I don't know why this is even remotely necessary.
Should I kick him in the shin?
This was fine.
I feel like that's the place
I'd be
we're
fine
at.
with that.
Look, who else trained in etiquette? Okay. Anyone? Damn it! You can see through me.
I'm gonna kick Elric in the shin.
Ow! Never mind.
Blackhand finds that freaking hilarious, which is kind of funny because so does the DM. It's almost like we're one person. And so he'll just laugh. The really funny thing is that Percy has not stopped rowing to listen to any of this nonsense. So
and there he goes.
If anyone was going to go with him, they're going to need to swim out. And so off he heads towards the ship.
And plate. Yeah,
it's fine.
Given how peaceable things are so far, I'm not sure that sending collateral is necessary.
Well, if they mount an attack against us, I reserve the right to say I told you so.
How would that help us if you were on the ship and they attacked us?
It would be dangerous for them to do so.
Mm-hmm. I can assure you, the captain holds no ill will towards you. Random group of strangers who met each other in the woods looking for a hammerhead ship.
A hammerhead ship floating in the mountain ship lake. Yes. Yes. Well, we hold no ill will toward you as well.
Almost as if someone or something had sent you here looking for it.
Almost.
He thinks he's super clever now because maybe he's figured something out. All right. Some time will pass. And shortly thereafter, you will see another, the rowboat will get to the big ship. The GIF will climb up something that's basically like netting that's thrown over the side of the big ship into the water that's designed for you to be able to climb it to the deck. He'll spend a moment or two talking on deck. You can't quite tell to who. And shortly thereafter, a halfling will go dressed like a pirate will come scooting down the netting and into the rowboat, and will begin rowing the rowboat back. So we've had a change in rowers somewhere along the way. That may be because if you wish to bring a group of 5 individuals over in a boat that might only hold 4 of them and 1 giant hippo, sending a halfling really increases the capability of that boat to hold people.
Sure does.
He's like this
That's
little
valid.
halfling with massive arms.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine the rower station that can accommodate both a halfling and a gig.
He's got a little box. Okay, so shortly thereafter, the halfling will arrive on shore. He's looks to be like a teenage halfling, and I was a teenage halfling kind of thing. And he's dressed flamboyantly like a pirate. He has a dagger that's sort of shaped a bit like a cutlass, and a flintlock pistol tucked into alternate hips from each other. He and your guest or your host on the mainland will nod sagely at each other, and he'll say, "Get in the boat."
Get in the boat. All right.
Okay.
Oh, he's so cute.
Very well.
Get in the boat.
Yep.
I shall get in the boat.
All right,
Yeah,
so
I
you
will
will all
also get in the boat.
get in the
We're on a
boat.
boat, motherfucker. Oh.
You're gonna get a little bit wet getting in the boat because the boat's, at the shore, but you gotta kind of step into maybe like, calf depth in order to get into the boat. So you got squishy shoes for a little bit, but
Oh, boy.
such is the price that one pays to get into the boat.
Yeah,
You'll
boots
notice
go all the way up
Stout,
to the
high,
knee.
floppy boots. We're good.
Okay. So you'll notice that Ferris has decided to turtle up and hide in the bag rather than getting a really good view of what's going on here. But at least somebody knew that Ferris existed because he wasn't until just now. And Jamal is gliding along the surface of the water, which she thinks is pretty neat, keeping pace with your boat. Okay. So again, few moments and you'll find yourself alongside the damn that thing's enormous spell jamming ship. Time to climb the ropes.
All right.
Hmm.
I will start climbing.
Yes, our old nemesis, climbing the ropes
Ladders,
and/or
doors,
ladders.
and
So our dream sort of conditioning for weapons and that sort of thing. I have noodle arms. So is that a bit better now?
Yeah, you have in a dream space, which is bathed in constant sunlight, trained on at least some weapons and fighting in combat. So while you have not become a champion lifter, you are now capable of scampering up a rope ladder on the side of a boat. Yeah,
that's right.
So
Great.
Okay. Your fitness overall generally has increased, everybody, by virtue of the fact that you now can fight. Okay, so you'll arrive at the top of the rope ladder and, one after another sort of scamper onto the deck of the ship. There are a number of crew of varying different races scattered about the ship, and one very obvious and flamboyant gentleman who must be the captain of this vessel. The figure standing on the deck before you all is striking. Captain Dronce Velvrath is tall and lean, with an almost predatory grace to his movements. His long raven black hair is tied back with a dark green ribbon, and he sports a neatly trimmed goatee with a sharp, sardonic smile. His piercing blue eyes seem to size up everyone and everything in an instant. He's wearing a high-collared pirate coat of deep emerald velvet that is immaculately tailored. It's adorned with silver trim, an intricate embroidery of sea creatures that shimmers faintly in the light. He's also wearing polished black boots, a sash of deep crimson, which cinches, a wide belt from which hangs a sheathed rapier, really nice looking one, with a basket hilt, worn from use, and a small number of pouches and devices, some clearly magical, are discreetly tucked about his person. He strikes you as the sort of individual who's got a bunch of magical trinkets and is prepared for almost every eventuality. There's also a certain magnetic charm about him in his movement, carefully designed to sort of captivate and disarm people when he meets them. And as he approaches you, he welcomes you aboard the ship. Welcome aboard Glathra's Gauntlet, my fine friends. Captain Dronce Velvrath at your service. You've come at a most fortuitous time, as the winds of the heavens favor our journey. Now, I do trust you've brought both coin and courage, as my ship takes both.
Well, you'll find we have no shortage of the latter. As to the former, that was something we wish to discuss. We do have coin, but we wanted to.
I have heard you have the singular.
Oh, we have more than that, but I wanted to discuss what the price would be for the 5 of us.
5 of you. Well, I might be inclined, and he'll say with a rather flirtatious look to you, to charge some less than others. But I am a businessman, and this is a business venture and a business ship. So I must make a generous return for taking such risks upon myself as taking you all the way to the Rock of Bral. I mean, it doesn't take very long, but it could be a dangerous journey. So, let's see. For you, my lady, I would think 10 pieces of gold would be entirely reasonable. For the rest of you, he's nodding about you, I would say 50 apiece seems fair.
That's the
Are you
out
not
of character.
headed to the
That's
Rock
a
of
hell
Bral
of a
anyway?
markup.
Or a heck of a discount, depending on how you look at it. Are you not headed to the Rock of Bral anyway, sir?
He'll shoot you a look. What gives you the impression that I'm headed to the Rock of Bral? Roll 20-sided die, Joel.
Cockeyed. 8.
He's looking for something amounting to a password. You know, he's flirting with some knowledge. You're flirting with some knowledge. You all haven't said anything out loud yet. He's looking for you to say something out loud.
Out of character. Were we given anything that would have constituted a
Well,
password?
I kicked Eric's shin, but I suppose I will also jump in and say we have an appointment with a certain Kris the Grey.
Ah, his eyes will light up, Joel. That was the password.
I wasn't sure if we should mention his name. A lot of people seem to hate that guy.
Yeah. I was on the fence. It was either going to get us
in front of the
help.
captain?
No,
Yeah.
that was out of character.
It was either going to get us help or killed. So you know.
Right, yeah, it could go either way.
Sold. You could also be sold. That's also possible.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's.
Yeah.
He will say in response to Rhiannon, you mentioning Kris the Grey. So you're friends of Kris the Grey. He stretches the gray out. Well, that does change the game a bit, doesn't it? And I was just about to weigh anchor. I've been waiting here as patiently as a captain can manage, which I'll admit is not my strong suit. But I'd never leave a friend of Kris's stranded. No, not indeed, given the gold that he paid me.
Wonderful.
Crew seems to find that funny. He'll stride forward to clasp hands with who seems to be in charge here.
I step aside so that Rhiannon can clasp hands with him.
I mean, if no one does it, I'll do it. But since I was doing most of the talking anyway.
Yeah.
So it's actually gonna be more okay. So your voice, Rhiannon, has been pretty quiet, right, since the beginning of this episode, but it can't resist a dry chuckle when Eric steps out of the way, as if to suggest that you are the person whose hand should be shaken. However, the captain will shake your lovely hand, Allie, turn it, and plant a gentlemanly kiss upon it. And he will say, standing straight, between 3 and 7, he said. 5 it is then, right in the sweet spot. Good to see Kris's estimation still holds true. I'd hate to charge you more, especially you, my lady. Please.
Of course.
But that matters neither here nor there. Passage to the Rock of Bral is what you're after, is it not? Well, my ship's your ship. The Glathra's gauntlet is ready to sail the stars, and you've arrived just in time. I see the fire of adventure burns within each of you. That's good, because the void between the worlds can be a somewhat dangerous place. Aboard this vessel, hopefully you will find safety and speed, so long as you follow my rules and don't upset my crew.
I'm sure we'll be the picture of good behavior, and I'll look at Eric.
Of course.
Be happy to entertain your crew on the way.
Yeah. A bard. My lads are always looking for a bit of entertainment. he'll stride away from you and head towards the helm of the vessel, like the sort of like what's the word, steering station, which occurs
Spelljamming helm?
Not that helm.
That'd be down in the
The
hull.
helm.
Right. Okay.
So which occurs sort of like at the back of the ship. And so you can either follow him, or you can sort of stand amidships, or you can kind of do whatever. Jamal Randy is kind of moving about this ship, looking in all the dark corners and, like, you know, exploring the place, because this is fascinating. She's never seen anything like this. And if you recall, the last time the two of you had a meaningful conversation, she mentioned how excited she was about flying amongst the stars. So this whole spelljamming thing is pretty cool to her. Ferris will poke his head out briefly to sort of assess the situation and poke it down back into his carrying case. Where do all of you want to land?
I would like to be back on the quarterdeck, if that is okay with the captain.
All right. Yeah, the captain doesn't seem to mind. The captain started shouting orders, and the crew is now bustling about. Looks like they're readying this bird for takeoff.
Just
Yeah.
trying to pay attention to figure out, you know, how things work and how things are different from a regular sailing vessel.
Okay. Do you have some skill at sailing?
Small craft.
Okay, so you know a little bit about it. Good. All right.
I'm going to inspect the artillery and defenses and stuff to familiarize myself.
That was gonna be
Okay,
my
so
next
you'll
thing.
sort of stride about. So we'll look at that.
Joel and I are
Joel is
kind of doing
closer.
the same sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Randy, how about you?
I'll settle someplace and start tapping on my drum and singing the ballad of Salt and Pepper Beard, which you may remember was
Yes,
the
I do
notorious
remember
pirate
that.
captain who invaded a particular red wizard ship and helped burn it to the.
Yeah, that was a good story. I liked that one. Good times. Good times.
Mhm.
Allie, yourself?
I'm gonna find a spot on the ship, probably near the rail somewhere, where I can get a good view as we like start to take off. And I am focused on seeing things as we travel outside the ship.
Is this a King of the World situation, or like?
Not quite,
Okay.
but like I just want a good view, because
All right.
like especially since we're gonna be going up and into space, basically. I am
Mhm.
like,
This is definitely going to be a unique viewing opportunity. Rihanna, how
yes,
about
exactly.
I'm wanting to stay. I don't want to be, below deck. That seems good.
Mhm.
But I want to stay sort of central, because I feel like a view's good at the rail, but then falling off is easier.
It's bad. Okay. View good, fall bad. Okay.
Yes.
So there is a single mast that sits about 3/4 of the way down this ship. Allie, I'll send you an image to put up for the viewers.
Yeah.
3/4 of the way down the ship, there's a single mast, which they're unfurling at the moment. So that's a good place as any to lash yourself to if you need to not fall off. Okay. So I have a sense of where you all are. The ship, as I mentioned, is bursting into activity as the captain takes his place near the helm. Draunt's voice cuts through the air like a whip, sharp and commanding. Make ready the sails, you scoundrels! I want every line taut and the deck clear. Master Tharmon, see to the forward ballista. Sharpen your aim, just in case. Pilot, fire up the jammer. Time to leave this rock behind. The crew, which is a diverse collection of humans, dwarves, half-elves, with skin kissed by the sun and hands hardened by the rigors of sailing, spring into motion with practiced precision. Half-elven riggers ascend the rigging with the grace of dancers, unfurling the ship's sails. Dwarven hands steady the lines with the unyielding strength, their voices barking terse commands as they secure everything for the journey. And human pirates man the sleek siege weapons, preparing the armaments for any sudden need. Draunt leans towards a brass speaking tube embedded in the deck near the helm and calls down with a tone of cool confidence. Jammer's pulse, steady as she goes, Mr. Tyrrell. Let's show these passengers how a real ship takes to the stars. From deep within the ship, a low hum begins to resonate. It grows steadily in intensity until it feels like the air itself is vibrating with the ship's energy. The Glathra's gauntlet shudders beneath your feet as what is obviously its spelljamming helm fires up, the surge of magical energy flowing through the ship like a pulse of life. Hold fast, all of you, Draunt shouts. He's got one hand on the rail. You'll either down to your cabins or tying yourselves to the railings. This is to the party. I prefer not to fish you out of the air, or worse, the ground. should we hit some turbulence? What would you like to do?
Well, I'll definitely latch myself to the railing. Like,
Yeah,
I'll do the same.
Yeah, cabin is like not ideal, but better than.
So you want to go below decks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a guest cabin or a place where he would like us to go?
You'll find out when you ask to go to one.
All right.
I will say that when it's clear that you're looking for a place to go other than near the mast, right? That your little companion Ferris will sort of stick his head up out of the bag and get out of the bag and sit on your shoulder, and he'll put one little paw next to your ear and like stroke it gently, as if to say, "They're there. We've got this. We've got this."
my heart.
Does that in any way change your opinion?
Well, now I'm worried about him.
He's got little claws, Rhiannon.
Okay.
He's going nowhere. If you go off the boat, there's a chance he goes with you, but he's not leaving you.
I mean, I'm not afraid of heights or something. It's just I'm trying to be sensible in terms of not taking chances.
Okay, so
Normally I am afraid of heights, but space.
Not afraid of heights, but not really wanting to fall without a parachute from a ship that is ascending into space. Yeah, no, that's reasonable.
I mean, portholes are a thing.
Yeah.
So you will indicate that you wish to go below decks. Is anybody else going to go below decks with Rhiannon, or is Rhiannon going below decks by herself?
Well.
Okay, it would appear solo mission. Well, you and your furry companion. The halfling who came over and rowed the boat to shore will guide you below decks of the ship. And it's in many ways, the interior of this thing is sort of more like a traditional sailing ship than its exterior. And you'll go down a hallway, down a level into sort of the deep part of the ship. And he'll lead you to what is basically a cabin. It's not terribly luxurious, and it's not locked. It has only hammocks and 4 of them. But the captain did mention that the journey was short, so maybe that's what that means. There is a porthole, however, along the side. Yes, Joel. You are muted.
Can I say before she goes below that
Yes.
it might be a good idea for her to find out where the helm is located in case we need someone to power it in a hurry?
Okay, you'll say that to her.
I'm going to say that to her.
Okay. Rhiannon. Are you going to ask these guys where the nuclear reactors are located?
No, I'm gonna go in the little room and look out the porthole and say, Ferris, would you go take
Thumbs
a
up.
look?
Does not do
We're
that.
drifting in space.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So you were looking out the porthole and I heard save Ferris, which put me in mind of Ferris Bueller.
Yep.
Say
100%.
to Ferris,
Okay, go ahead.
would you go look for the nuclear reactor, as it were?
Okay. He'll give you a puzzled look on that nuclear reactor thing.
The power of this ship, the helm,
Okay, he'll nod and hop off your shoulder, sliding out the door. Now you have a loose animal, a varmint roaming the ship somewhere, looking.
Well,
for
I
the
mean, I'm
nuclear
sure you
reactor.
can beat up any rats. He
Yeah,
finds, so.
yeah. He's designed for that kind of work. So, all right, got it. Yeah, it's very appropriate Star Trek. Okay, so those of you on deck and those of you observing out the portal will see more or less the same thing. It's just more or less dangerous, as the case may be. Ghostly Jamal, Randy, done poking her head into all the dark corners, will appear next to you, sort of standing, looking off the edge of the ship if you're anywhere near the edge of the ship, smiling fiercely at you like a child on Christmas morning. So, you're happy to see her gleeful about all of this. As the engine hum reaches a steady rhythm, the ship lifts from the surface of the lake. At first, it feels almost delicate, a gentle sway, like a raft breaking free from its moorings. But then, with a sudden lurch, the gauntlet surges upward, leaving rippling waves behind it as it ascends. The lake and the lush valley surrounding it fall away rapidly, the vibrant greens and browns shrinking beneath the ship. A cool wind begins to whip across the deck as the ship tilts sharply, the bow rising skyward at an aggressive angle. The sensation is a bit disorienting, as the gravity feels a little tenuous, pulling at odd angles as the deck tips nearly 45 degrees. So you are in a fairly steep climb aboard this ship. Loose crates within rigging tacked to the deck slide slightly across the planks, and a few crew members laugh as they brace themselves with practiced ease. Ropes creak and snap taut as the great sails catch the growing wind, billowing wide. Steady as she climbs, lads, Drance calls, his voice cutting through the roar of the wind. He glances back at all of you, well, all but you, Rhiannon. His expression calm. Not too late to grab a rail and find your sea legs, or shall I say sky legs? What do you want to do? I'm assuming you've tied yourself off if you're staying above deck.
I am grabbing hold of that rail tight.
Like your life depended on it, because, it might. Falling damage is pretty serious business. Joel?
Oh, I have grabbed on, and I have actually fastened my locking gauntlet to make sure I'm not going
Okay, okay, got it. Check. Randy?
Oh yeah, I've secured myself by whatever means to the railing, and continue to bellow happily the epic ballad of Salt and Pepperbeard. And
because the wind is really picking up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I roll something? I want to I'm hoping to really start to influence crews as I go across the land to start this legend of Salt and Pepperbeard.
What are you trying to get them influenced to remember this profound performance?
The performance and end of Salt and Pepperbeard, making them curious and remember him and want to hum about him. Here is
what you would roll. You would roll a 20-sided die and two 10-sided dice. You're going to add the two 10-sided dice together, and you're going to just tell me what the 20-sided die says.
Okay, the 20-sided is a 4, and the two 10-sided. Sorry, I gotta dig them out.
Has this thing got a beat you can dance to, Randy? It's pretty
9 and bumping. 8. Yeah. I am the very model of a pirate on the sea of stars. I'm information magical, nautical, and lascalar. I know the major milestones and quote the realms historical. From spell plague to the sundering, in order nonsensical.
And so I assume you will be also completing it and repeating it as you go so that people can pick it up via repetition. Your performance is good enough with those rolls that you have just made that you will notice that people are beginning to sing it along with you. You've got the crew on board, so to speak.
Nice.
And you're getting sort of like this going as you guys are, arcing upward into the sky. From the deck and your portal, the world below unfolds in a breathtaking sight you didn't think you'd ever witness. The valley shrinks rapidly. The towering peaks of the 4 mountains encircling Hidden Hale reduced to mere undulations in the landscape. The monastery-like fortress, perched along the side of one of the peaks, gleams faintly for a moment in the sunlight, its austere silhouette stark against the green-brown tapestry of the valley floor. As the gauntlet climbs higher, this is taking place over maybe 15 or 20 minutes, the air turns crisper and the winds intensify. The sails creak and snap in the gusts, driving the ship ever upward. The valley becomes a patchwork quilt, and soon the rolling sword coast sprawls below, an expanse of forests, rivers, and hills stretching endlessly into the distance. To the south, a glimmer of silver catches your eye, the city of Waterdeep. It appears impossibly small, its mighty walls and bustling streets reduced to toy-like miniature. Beyond it, the sea of swords sparkles in the afternoon light, waves catching the sun like scattered diamonds. The air grows colder, each breath coming sharper than the last. Rhiannon, you are delighted you were below deck for this experience. As you begin to notice that your lungs are working harder against the altitude, a sudden popping sensation fills your ears, like pressure change in a deep cavern or aboard like a 747. The biting crosswinds abruptly die, replaced by an almost eerie calm. The ship shudders as if crossing an invisible threshold, and a faint shimmer surrounds it, the ship's magical air envelope snapping into place. The world outside the protective field feels distant, muffled, and strangely serene. Looking down, the dizzying heights send your hearts racing. For those uneasy with heights, Allie, the expanse below is overwhelming, a vertigo-inducing void that seems to pull at you despite the solidity of the ship's deck. As the gauntlet accelerates, you look up and you notice that the stars are sharper and brighter in the sky, glittering like jewels on black velvet. And for the first time, the shimmering curve of Toril becomes visible on the horizon, a breathtaking sight that steals your breath from your lungs as the ship accelerates faster and faster away from the planet's surface.
Take that, flat earthers.
Has gravity reoriented yet?
Yes. Gravity, which you'll hear me talk about in a moment, is along the beam of the ship.
Mhm.
You are still all pitched at a rather precipitous angle, right? So you're not glued to the vessel. You're still subject to a little bit of sliding. But doesn't feel quite as steep in its climb as it did a moment ago, before that, snapped into place. Anybody have anything else they want me to know before you climb ever higher?
Whisper a prayer to Helm for protection of all of us.
Do you wish
and of
Helm?
this brave crew.
Do you wish Helm to protect the helm?
That's the one.
Okay, sounds.
I am just
logical
watching
to me.
all of this in rapt excitement. I am just like, yes, there's that vertigo, but it's warring with this like kind of almost like, this just elation at seeing this. So I'm
It
like,
is a wild ride. Like of all the things you didn't think you'd see, this is, foremost amongst those sorts of things. And the two people on the ship who are the most excited about it are the living one, Allie, and the dead one, Jamal, who is just dancing around the ship because she can't fall off like it's a party. Anyway, Randy, go ahead.
No, I was saying, I'm absolutely delighted. This is super cool. We are far more deserving than William Shatner to go up in space. And then,
and younger too.
Also, very grateful I did not have any dairy before we took this trip. So
and way more coherent. Anyway,
the lack of dairy. I find your lack of dairy disturbing.
Oh, you would have found my dairy disturbing.
Your presence of dairy disturbing.
The presence.
Find your lack of dairy practical.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yes.
as the gauntlet climbs higher, the crew's activity intensifies. Orders barked by Captain Velvrith echo across the deck, relayed swiftly by his officers. Crew members dart to and fro, checking the tension on the ropes, adjusting the sails, and manning the siege weapons. Their movements are precise, their faces alert. This is a practiced crew. Some scan the skies with eyes or long brass telescopes. Their gaze is wary. One crewman mutters to another, "We're in the open now. Could be a dragon, could be worse." You got something for that?
No.
No? Okay. Hope for the best. Noted. The world below further transforms as the gauntlet speeds into what must be the upper atmosphere of Toril. The Sword Coast, once a patchwork of hills and rivers, now appears as a vast curving coastline stretching from north to south. The scattered islands off the coast gleam like pearls in the endless blue of the ocean. That must be the Moonshades. Further inland, the continent of Faerun sprawls beneath you, a land of wonders made tiny by the distance. To the north, the towering peaks of mountain ranges stand like jagged teeth, snowcaps glittering even at this height. To the east, a vast golden expanse comes into view, the great Anarok Desert shimmering in the sunlight, a stark counterpoint to the lush green forests of the High Forest located nearby it. The ship tilts again, its prow now cutting nearly vertically into the void. The artificial gravity that has so far held steady begins to shift a bit, and a smoking pipe tumbles forth from one of the crew members' mouths, floating free in midair. It drifts slowly away from the ship, caught in what is obviously the ship's gravitational alignment, bobbing for a moment weightlessly before coming to rest near the midline of the ship's beam. It continues its lazy course towards the ship's wake, heading ever so slightly closer to the edge of the magical air envelope. You get the impression that if you were to fall overboard, that might be your eventual fate as well, as long as it is taking for that to happen. A few chuckles will ripple through the crew at the misfortune of the person who dropped that pipe, But their laughter is subdued, tinged with a bit of tension and vigilance. The sight of the planet below and the void above seems to weigh a degree on everyone. Toril is now looming behind you, its massive curved horizon painted in hues of sapphire, emerald, and white. The ship then levels off, its nose swinging away from the planet and orienting towards a distant light in the black expanse. Ahead lies Selûne, the silver moon, its surface pocketed with craters and shadows, and behind it, the tears of Selûne scatter like gemstones flung into the heavens, rocky islands in space. Captain Veldrith strides to the rail, one hand resting on his hip and surveying the expanse. He looks at you, Joel, as you are near to him. So your first time in the void, is it? I can tell by the way that you're gawking all about, eyes wide, mouth slightly agape, like children seeing the sea for the first time. He'll chuckle.
It is my first time leaving the atmosphere.
Take it in, breathe it deep, well, figuratively speaking.
Mine as well. I've always wanted to see something like this.
In the immediate range. He's, his crew finds him funny. I don't know if that's just loyalty or whether he's actually a humorous dude, but, the crew finds the captain hilarious.
It's cool to see Toril like this. I thought it was a disc on the back of 4 elephants on the back of a giant turtle, but...
Common misconception.
Like a sphere.
I'm more excited about seeing the stars like this.
They are quite beautiful in the night sky. It's a rare thing, the captain says, this view. You only ever see it once, with your heart unjaded. The stars, the silence, the curve of a world you'll soon leave behind. Remember it well, mark the beauty of it, for the dangers you'll face out here, and there are plenty, make it harder to see such wonder again. Rhiannon, you've got a Ferris returned from his wanderings about the ship. He will hop up on your shoulder and go,
Thank you.
Okay. What, if anything, do you wish to do from your cabin with your 4 hanging hammocks?
I mean, climbing in and out of the hammock is not something I practiced at. So I'm just going to hang out.
It's a tricky business.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're enjoying the view, even though it is a bit more circumscribed than everybody else's view. Okay. And Allie, again, you're standing near the edge, enjoying as best as you can enjoy, and there are many fantastic things to concentrate on.
Absolutely.
Anything in particular?
I mean, my attention's going to be focused on the sky, the stars, like especially that transition between Toril and Toril's atmosphere, and then coming out into the expanse of space beyond it, because that's
just
sort of sight.
Vast. It's just vast. It's anybody who's ever been into orbit or high orbit will tell you that it's a life-changing experience, because you spend your entire life surrounded by an enormous planet that you sort of assume is whatever. And once you're up far enough away from it and you realize that the expanse of the universe is far vaster than the place that you've spent your entire life on, it's sort of a transformational moment.
Yeah.
Don't understand how someone could see something like this and their perspective would not expand.
Absolutely true. Joel, anything from you in particular, or are you just enjoying the view?
No, I think I am actually probably nervous, honestly. I mean,
Tell me more about that.
Just being in, I don't like flying particularly.
I see.
I am fine with heights when I am under control. Like if I'm steering, I'm good. But or climbing, I'm fine. But when I'm under when somebody else has the wheel or the stick, it makes me a little nervous.
All right. Well, then you're probably feeling a little nervous here. Does that mean you're going to edge away from the edge of the ship at all?
No, because I'm locked to the rail. So
okay, so I guess
I'm not going anywhere.
You're going to get. Okay, fair enough. All right, Eric, anything special from you?
Well, I'm just going to have that little philosophical moment, and then I think I would like to go down below decks and check on Rhiannon and make sure she's okay.
Okay.
I'm sure she is, but you never know.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. I believe that's one of the sayings of Helm. Better safe than sorry.
Well, I'm here to protect everybody. So
Yep.
It's literally my mandate. So,
Mhm. It is job number one.
That's right.
All right. So when it becomes clear that you're headed below decks, the same halfling that guided Rhiannon to the cabin will guide you to the same location, and pretty soon you'll find yourself, Rhiannon, with Eric coming in the cabin behind you.
He
You have a
knocked his
moment.
head on the beam.
Ow.
Yeah.
You should probably get that halfling's name.
Whack.
You probably should. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
No, just gonna
Anything
say
that-
hello and check in that she's okay.
I'm fine.
I wasn't concerned.
Did
knew
anybody
you
fall
would
off
be.
yet?
Well, Amara is very, very invested in the stars, but she hasn't sprung in toward them yet. And Joel is very practical about it. I'm just going to kind of like nudge Rhiannon with my elbow so that we can talk mentally.
No.
Mhm.
And I'm going to say, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, really?
Yes.
No voice issues?
Oh, I mean, it's not gone. It's not telling me to jump off, and I wouldn't anyway. I don't understand what's the. You just wanted to come down here. You want an excuse, I see. Okay.
No. You're under a lot of pressure, and you've been through a lot, and I just wanted to check in with you. That's all.
Paladin voice. Just stop.
That's not paladin voice. That's what I wouldn't say as a normal person.
All right.
It's a little bit social media voice. I acknowledge that. Hey, we're friends. We've had our differences and disagreements, but I'm still here to support you. That's what I wanted to say.
All right. I didn't want to be tied to a rail in the midst of whatever, and I don't want to not be tied to a rail in the midst of whatever, because apparently there are storms, and I don't remember if I was up there when he said dragons, but
I almost asked about an astral dreadnought, but that's probably like bad luck to even mention that on a Spelljammer. So
yeah, that's not good stuff.
Oh, and space sharks. Thanks for putting that in our heads, Joel. Thanks.
Once you get space sharks in your head, you can't get them out.
I completely understand. Can you imagine what would happen if the air bubble didn't manifest properly? Anyway,
Now, that would be very bad
glad
news.
to see you're okay.
Boy Scouts. Space shark.
Yes,
You seem like you'd be fun to fly with, Eric.
Well, it's funny. I did work at Boeing for 12 years, and I just explained to people about takeoffs and the most dangerous time of a takeoff and a landing, which is the takeoff and landing, by the way.
Yep.
And like how safe Boeing planes are to fly. Note that I stopped doing this about 5 years ago.
There you go. I thought the old joke was Boeing was the sound that the piece made when it fell off the plane.
Well, that's not the old joke. That's the current joke.
Okay,
These days.
Okay. All right.
At
Meanwhile,
least they have their space program.
back out on. Speaking of the space program, back out on deck. As the gauntlet glides away from Toriel, the massive planet shrinks behind you. The ship's course adjusts slightly, its prow aiming towards the shimmering chain of rocky islands scattered in the void ahead, the Tears of Selûne. Behind you, the sun burns fiercely, a blinding white orb against the black canvas of space. In space, the sun looks blinding white. On the planet, it looks yellowish-orange. Its radiance is unrelenting, casting stark shadows across the deck. The edges of the gauntlet's sails and rigging seem to glow in the sunlight, their shapes outlined in harsh contrast. Below decks, clearly the navigator and the pilot are hard at work, because you can hear the soft hum of magic resonating faintly through the ship's frame, barely audible to those on board. Captain Velvrith's voice continues to break the stillness, echoing through his brass speaking tubes as he shouts commands to his crew. Navigator, confirm our course. Pilot, ready the helm for full speed. I want those sails taut and every line secured. We'll need a smooth jump, and I won't have my ship lurching about like a drunken harpy. Turning to you, Joel, the captain says with a rakish grin, "Now then, this is where the real journey begins. I suggest you brace yourself." Even further, he's pointing to your hand, gripped to his thing.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
We'll be increasing to full speed. Trust me, you don't want to be caught unprepared.
Okay, well, I guess I'll hold the rail with the other hand, but
I'll like hug the rail.
Like, the trail is going nowhere.
I mean, unless the rail goes somewhere, I'm good.
Everybody's relying on like fingers. I'm like, come on, people, with the like ropes and things. Come on.
Oh no, I'm tied to it.
Okay, good.
But I'm also hugging it.
Yeah, I'm mechanically fastened to the ship at this point.
Yeah,
so I'm
those
good.
of you below deck are actually sort of shielded from a lot of this above deck because the way the sort of these ships are designed in the I was like, almost like I thought of this. The way the magic of these ships is designed is a little harsher on those above than those below. The crew, when he says that, leaps into action, securing ropes, tying lines in place, and the ship shudders slightly, which a faint, deep vibration coursing through the deck. And then it sort of lurches forward, and the world around you, to those who can see outside, transforms. The stars sort of ripple and distort, their light stretching into faint wavering streaks. It's not as dramatic as hyperspace travel in Star Wars, but the effect is mesmerizing, a testament to the sheer speed of the vessel. You have no idea how fast this thing is going, but it is going very, very fast. And it slices through the void with an eerie grace. All is silent, except for the disciplined movements of the crew. The only sounds beyond them are the occasional creak of the rigging and, boots across the deck. The sheer velocity of the ship is palpable, and the air itself seems to sort of hum with energy. Within mere minutes, the Tears of Selûne are now looming ahead of you. So they went from in the far distance to now almost entirely huge in front of you, growing from these distant pinpoints to massive jagged rocks. Some of the larger tiers are dotted with faint lights, tiny settlements or outboats, possibly, visible against the dark expanse. The smaller fragments tumble gently into space, gliding and catching the sunlight like scattered jewels. The captain, standing at the prow, as the ship decelerates out of warp, will say, "The Tears of Selûne, a sight to behold for those lucky enough to wander the stars. Keep your eyes open, though. We aren't quite out of the proverbial woods yet." As the gauntlet slows and the eerie blurring of the light field completely vanishes, the vibration of the deck eases, and the pilot adjusts the course of the ship for a more controlled approach. The tiers are growing larger and more detailed with each passing moment, the vast emptiness of space giving way to the seemingly endless assortment of mountain-sized boulders tumbling through the ink-black sky. Any of you who have seen The Empire Strikes Back are thinking about that scene with the asteroid field, as realistic or unrealistic as it may be. Is there anything you wish to do at this moment in time? Allie, we'll start with you.
I'm marveling at this, and just still kind of enraptured. Also thinking to myself, hey, Kresh Kalir's on one of these, supposedly. But that's about it.
The more you know. All right.
Get Yankee. Anyway.
You have less of a concern now that you're going to be hurled overboard at any particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, you also now know from observing the course of that bobbing pipe, which has made its way maybe halfway towards the back of the thing, that if you were to fall overboard, you could probably be retrieved within the envelope of this thing. You'd bob down, and then you bob up a little bit, and then you bob down, and then you bob, and you'd end up like a cork sort of sitting at the midline of the vessel, and someone could throw you a rope or go out and fetch you. So that's less of an urgent need to lash yourself to the deck if you need to undo that. Would you like to remain firmly tied or go into a more relaxed approach?
So Amara is going to step away from the railing once the ship has kind of leveled out and they're not, we're not climbing into the stars anymore. If once there's less of an issue with the risk of falling off, and she's not currently gazing dreamily at the starscape, she will head below decks, since she saw Elric heading that way, and seek him out wherever he may be.
So Elric has had his chat with Rhiannon at this point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he's had a costume change, maybe not. Can't really say. Like, I'm scoping out. I'm checking our equipment just to make sure that we're prepared for whatever the Rock of Bral has for us. I know a lot about the terrestrial realms, not so much about the Rock of Bral and the realm space around us. So this is kind of new territory for me. So we're gonna see. And you know, I am a paladin of Helm. I don't know exactly how attentive I am to a sneaking up on me, but I eventually figure out that Amara has found me, and I'm like, hello.
Yeah, I think by that point she would have, like, you know, leaned up against the wall or something and like knocked against it just to kind of get your attention. And then once you've turned around and said hello, she'll go, Elric, can I have a word? I just need.
Of course, Amara.
Yeah. And she'll kind of look around, scope out a place that they can step away and speak to each other where there won't be too many prying ears.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wanted to talk to you as the person who probably knows, well, definitely knows Illyra better than anybody else here.
I would say so.
I wanted to talk to you about my game plan here. Because I mean, we're on our way. We're coming up. Like, provided she doesn't just ignore the message. You know, if
so
I wanted
50-50 is what we're saying.
I mean, 50-50.
There's a good chance because
I'm
she's
hopeful.
chaotic neutral. We'll see. Well,
we'll see.
Best to be prepared. I agree.
Yes. Well, so, I mean, for one, like, how do you even see this working? Like, not like, you know what I mean? Warning her.
Actually, I don't know what you mean. Do you mean thwarting the terrible fate that I have laid out for her?
Yes.
I don't know. I honestly don't. I hope so. And I think it's great that you're going to try to thwart her terrible fate. And I feel some responsibility because I'm the one who made it happen. Or I'm the one who set the groundwork, shall we say. It still hasn't happened yet, so yeah. I like to think that we can change things. So yeah, it's possible.
I'm hoping. I'm honestly not entirely sure what I'm going to say just yet. I know that she's not the most trusting of the truth.
Well, that's certainly true. Sincerity and honesty are things that she runs from because they scare her.
Yep. But that being said, I'm not of a mind to do what I don't know if I want to do what my little friend, she'll tap her head, wants me to do either, which seems to be manipulate the hell out of her. Because it's not about what I want.
Why? Why isn't it about what you want?
Because it's not about me. I'm trying to help someone.
You don't think that helping yourself would also help this person?
How do you mean, help myself?
Okay, so Elric just glances around, just making sure once more that there are no pirates listening in. Okay, no weasel listening in.
I mean, we could
Fair.
have this conversation privately, but I don't really want to stand here in silence holding hands for God knows how long.
Okay, people might take the wrong impression. All right. I've known you for many years, and I know that you sincerely love Illyra as a character, as a person. I understand all that, but I need you to know that she's a self-destructive force of nature. Like, she is on a path to ruin her life because I wrote her that way. Right?
I know.
And if I think what she needs, if I have any insight into her character, is that she needs an example of someone who has things or can put things together, someone who is still a little rough around the edges. Because look at me, look at you, we're all rough around the edges, right? None of us have this all together, but someone who is trying to make things better rather than just running from problem to problem. And so I think that if you're going to reach her, you need to prioritize yourself as well. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, I think I understand. I think I follow.
I don't expect that to be easy for you. Like, I recognize a certain shared character between the two of us that we often kind of try and help others before we think of what we need ourselves. And for decades in my own life, I was kind of a people pleaser, and then I'd be upset because my own needs weren't being met. And like, Illyra is kind of like that, except she doesn't do the people pleasing part. She just gets upset that her own needs aren't met. And so she's constantly trying to meet her own needs without building an infrastructure to support that.
But she's scared of that infrastructure.
Exactly. She's scared of building connections and relationships because people turn on her, people betray her, people lie to her.
Or they die.
And sometimes they come back and do worse. So
Yeah, she doesn't know that yet.
That's true. Oh boy. So what I'm saying is, I think that you need to, when you approach her, you need to make sure that you're not just some toy or tool for her to use, or some momentary hedonistic delight. You're not just some passing relationship to have. You're a friend to her. However your relationship evolves, it needs to be, it needs to have constancy and consistency. You need to be there for her, is what I think it ultimately comes down to. How you get that across to her, I'm not really sure.
I don't know either. That's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah. So I'm just speculating because I don't know how this Illyra is going to stack up to the Illyra in my head. But one of the strongest, most important relationships Illyra ever has in her life is with Gargan, her Goliath companion, who she doesn't know yet. So it's not going to be relevant to this conversation. But the thing about Gargan is that he's rock solid and steady, and he is very reliable and very loyal and sticks with her all the time. And they're together, not romantically necessarily, because we are talking about Illyra, for like 10 years after they meet each other, until he perishes. So Like that is one of the most fulfilling relationships that she has, and his death is one of the things that kind of damages her significantly. But she keeps a piece of him by making his shadow her shadow, right? Which she then has for almost a century. So
Yeah, I remember that. Didn't she get his name tattooed on her chest?
That too, yeah.
That was a choice.
Yeah. I don't know if their relationship was romantic or just it was very strong, right?
Yes.
So
well,
maybe talk her out of the chest tattoos. I don't know.
That's neither. Yeah.
It's certainly a conversation starter.
Yes, I guess it is. But I don't know. I know I've been giving this a lot of thoughts, especially over the last several nights, since we've kind of had less time running around. And I kept asking myself why I'm doing this. Like why am I mean, I'm not exactly chasing after her, but like why am I trying to do this?
Okay.
And
did you come to a conclusion?
That's
a really good question.
I mean, I know that all of you have probably been asking yourselves that. I know how judgmental everyone's been about it.
I think that's mostly because we're all existentially terrified. And it's easier to kind of deflect with humor and snark, but we're still going through an entire world that we didn't expect to be in.
Yeah. Which
is low key, high key, my fault. And I am just trying to make sure everyone gets through it. If anything, you seem to be the best adjusted to this world that we're in, which I'm not saying you're perfectly adjusted to this world, but you definitely seem to be enjoying it the most. And like, you're on your way. Amara, I'm not worried about you. I have full faith in you and full confidence in you that you will make this work. And I want you to have full confidence in yourself that you will make this work.
Yeah, I'm trying. But no, it's something I have been giving a lot of thought to, and I kind of realize that, I mean, it's like when you're reading a book, right? You're reading a book and you heavily identify with the character. Like, I mean, obviously, unless you have like really, really poor barriers between real life and fantasy.
Look, no judgment. People are who they are, yeah. But
people are who they are. But like, you know, I never held any illusions. Like, I have a fondness for certain kinds of characters and certain characters in specific, but you know, like, I'm not delusional. I'm not, you know, but being here, like it, I mean, hell, even if we'd never come face to face with her, I don't think I'd be in this situation. I don't think I'd be trying this hard. But we did. And, you know, I've been beating that drum about, you know, oh, I want to help. And I do. I want to help. But I think I need to acknowledge that now that I'm here and I've met her, that I'm feeling something.
It's okay. It's okay not to know exactly what it is. Feelings take a while to develop, to really become clear.
Yeah, I'm not like delusional enough to say like, oh, I love her. No, that's not it. like I get it. It's not it. It's just that definitely still feel something. And if I can help, I want to help. Even if shit doesn't work out. And I've been thinking about that a lot too, because I think the second person who knows the most about her here is me. And I know what she's like and what scares her and how likely she is, especially at this juncture, to rabbit.
It's true. And I think that's part of why it's important to be solid and reliable and confident in your own truth and your own self, because it might not work out, you know, or it might lead to a years long cat and mouse game between you and Ilra, where you're on again, off again, and destined to be together and to be apart. And, you know, who can say? But if you are strong in yourself and what you believe and who you are, then you will be all right, regardless of what happens. And that's what I want for you.
That's kind of where I'm at, I think. Because, I mean, look at how things have gone with, you know, in the Westgate Irregulars stuff with Shay. Like, Shay's constantly chasing after her. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be in that situation. That's not a fun life.
No. I think that serves some narrative function in the Westgate Irregulars game. Man, we should really, if we hadn't come to this world, I feel like we should have done some kind of follow-up with Shay and her companions. We'll have to think about that. Anyway.
You know, if we ever get back...
If we ever get back, we should take care of that.
Yeah, I mean, if I get back, there's a problem. But
if you get back, something went wrong.
Point
well,
being,
I mean, you have picked a very dangerous path, so you might visit our world periodically until somebody resurrects you. If that's how it works, I don't know that's how it works.
Yeah, we don't know what happens.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, you see, I went through this experience where when I died, I went back to our world, but it was kind of like a pocket dimension of our world. So maybe I'm overthinking it. Nah, it would be silly. It would be silly if we died and went back to the real world. Like, I feel like that's just poor game design. Kris wouldn't do that. Anyway, the point is, I think you've got it. You've got the stuff. You've got the willpower. You've got the strength, and you've got the emotional development to be okay, regardless of what happens.
Yeah. I mean, so I have a plan. It's not.
Okay.
It's not what I'd call fully fleshed out, but it's a plan.
Concepts of a plan. Okay.
Concepts of a plan. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Gee,
man.
I don't know why that would. I don't know why that.
I just had this kind of like cold feeling in my heart. I probably shouldn't have said that. Anyway.
Yeah. So here it is. Like, I'm gonna try. I'll try talking to her.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm gonna try not to be so straightforward that she freaks out, because obviously the truth thing. But you know, I'm thinking maybe couching it in the like, hey, you know, 1 for 1, give and take. You show me how to shadow dance, and I'll give you information that could help you in the future, kind of thing. I don't know. That's not. I'll figure it out. But if she tries to rabbit, I have made preparations. And at that point, she'll kind of pull out a folded piece of paper or parchment or something.
Okay.
I wrote a letter. And I've gotten fairly good at this sleight of hand thing since we've gotten here.
Mm-hmm.
So if she tries to run, I'll see if I can reverse pickpocket it onto her.
Put pocket.
Yeah, put pocket.
Mm-hmm.
If she tries to see, I'm still blanking on names. Oh my god. Greatest treasure.
You mean Ildar?
Ildar. Yes. If she tries to Ildar me, because I'm not saying that won't happen.
You're gonna have to be more specific. There are several things that Ilra did to Ildar.
The end of the story.
Okay.
Where they slept together and then she ran in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
All right. We can call that the Ildar move.
The Ildar move. If she tries to do that, I can hide it with her stuff.
Hide it with her stuff while you're getting undressed is my recommendation.
I mean, I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. I'm not even expecting. I mean, it's Ilra, but I'm not even expecting that. It's not what I'm after. I don't necessarily want that.
I know. I'm just saying it's Ilra, so it's a non-zero possibility.
Not non-zero possibility. That's fair. But, yeah, that's my plan. The letter, I kept it simple. I didn't want to try to hide a novel, but I kept it simple. Don't trust Lilton. Just don't trust Lilton.
It's a good call.
I wrote that, don't trust him. He is the source of the majority of your future misery. I wrote, maybe avoid Sharans. Just don't get involved. Don't mess with them. And then the last one, just 3 points. The third point is don't trust Aliette.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's probably good advice. Hopefully she will manage her way through that situation without. Yeah.
I mean, the easiest solution is to just not go to wherever the hell that starts, but
if she doesn't go to wherever that starts, then she doesn't meet Gargan, and then she doesn't have that source of stability in her life.
No, but that's why I'm not necessarily steering her away from that experience and more just.
Well, if she doesn't go through with that experience and she doesn't come out of it with Gargan as her companion, you're going to have to step up and be that stable relationship in her life.
No pressure. We'll see. I mean, this is making a lot of presumptions too. She could tell me to hit the bricks. She could run off and I could never see her again.
Correct.
And honestly, if she does that, I've made my peace with it.
Okay.
I'm not chasing. And I even say as much. I wrote, and she'll unfold the letter. I wrote, I know that if you run and I try to find you, I will never find you unless you want me to. So I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try to find you. But if you have need of me, I'm not going to be so hard to find.
Good. She needs to remember that she has things to live for. And if that's something that you can help her with, if that's something you can be, I think that could be very, very helpful for her.
Right. I'm just trying to approach it in a way that it's not about me in the end. It's not about me.
Well, you're trying to help her.
Trying to help her, even if the only help I can offer is the information, and then she goes on and does other stuff.
But you're also protecting yourself.
Yes.
You're making peace with this, and you're being there for her without being forceful or coercive, which I feel is very important. And it's also good for you, right? Like I said, I want you to take care of yourself and do what's right for you as well.
Right. Because, at the end of the day, we've met once. And yes,
very memorably.
Very memorably, but it was once. I'm not going to hold any illusions.
Hmm.
She may not even remember my name. but I'll try to help.
When elves do their reverie, they do review their memories, right? That's a thing that happens.
That's a thing.
So, I mean,
Still don't
I'm
know how to
asking
do
you
that.
because you're an elf and you've
I don't know-
experienced that, right?
No, I haven't. No one's taught me
still
how to
only
do
slept.
it. Yes.
Okay.
I've never been taught how.
I see. All right. Well,
But
she's not necessarily the best at reverie either, so
I remember.
yeah, it's possible she might not remember. Yeah.
But,
Well, do recall that with the elven accent, her name is more accurately Elira.
Elira, yeah.
But when you're but she does tend to prefer just the human pronunciation because she's more like a human than like an elf, which is strange because, well, she is an elf.
Mm-hmm.
She just doesn't want to be. I don't know. It's hard to say. She doesn't like that heritage and that responsibility.
Fair. It's funny though. In a lot of ways, the way she kind of interacts with the world reminds me of the forlorn in Pathfinder, the elves that grew up in like human society where they're like kind of detached from what it means to be an elf, but they're surrounded by humans and everyone they care about gets old and dies before they even reach maturity, kind of thing.
I wonder if Galarian is attached to the multiverse and if we could travel there on the ship. Probably. Anyway, tangent.
But yeah, that's my plan. If she runs, she runs. I accept it. Maybe I see her again, maybe not, but I'll try.
Okay.
So.
Good. Well, if she does, it's her and it's not you. It's definitely her.
Oh no, I'm well aware. I
Okay.
mean, not like, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe when we get back to Waterdeep, I might visit the promenade again. I'd like to, I don't know. I liked talking to Layla.
Yeah, you seem to forge kind of a bond there.
Mm-hmm. Like even,
not necessarily a romantic bond, but
but
a bond, a potential friendship,
bond, something.
Mm-hmm.
She seems nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Point being,
like I said, I'm not worried about you.
I will be fine.
You will be fine, and you are making your way in this world. Eventually, I expect that you and the group will part ways eventually, and you will go off and do your own thing. Not anytime soon necessarily, but at some point. I mean, some of us theoretically are going to go back to our own world and leave you here, living your best life. And even if we were to all stay, you're an elf, and we're not.
Yeah, I've thought about that. It actually brings to mind something else that I kind of wanted to talk about, and I figured I'd talk to you about it first.
Sure. Would you like a drink? Pull out the wineskin.
You know what? Sure. I'll have some, and she'll take a swig. What I have been thinking, the other thing I've been thinking about is, we've come here. I've been trying to figure out who I am and make a name for myself, or at least try to establish who I am here. And I think part of that has been, the name, like taking on Amara. And I know that the group slips up a lot, and I know that a lot of us are treating them like aliases, and that's fine. But I'm not trying to treat it like an alias. Like it's like when I came out in the real world, like in our world. I picked a new name for myself, and now I'm kind of defining myself again here. And I don't know, I'd like everybody to at least make an effort to just call me Amara from now on. I think you have so far. That's
good. I have been making that effort, and I have mostly shifted my mind to thinking of you that way.
That's appreciated.
But I think that's a totally reasonable request.
Yeah.
You obviously have a different perspective and experience with naming and, shall we say, dead naming than most of us do. For me, I am perfectly happy to answer to either of my names, but I can see how it would seem less comfortable for you. So,
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, your earthly name is one that I like, and it's one that we heavily associate with you. But I think your Realmsian name is totally reasonable, especially since, it. Well, you're obviously still you, but looking at you, you look very different from the way you did in our world.
Yes.
The ears, partly, and
yeah.
also the near godly beauty.
Thanks.
You're welcome. It's not supernatural, but it's like at the high end of natural,
Yeah, no,
Olympic
I feel
level
like
beauty.
I dodged the monkey's paw.
If beauty were an Olympic event, you would be gold medal.
It just kind of gives you a look. Thank you. But yeah, it's like, I became someone new, or at least I revealed more of who I was, and now here I'm kind of trying to figure out who this is. I'm not sure about the Valyrian surname, honestly. I kind of pulled that I didn't really pull it out of the air, but it was on my mind. The Grey Mantle stuff. Alina, Sparrow, I might drop that.
I always think of that that movie.
You know what? I get you. I see what you're talking about. Yes. Plus, like, I don't know. I don't know what I'd use. I don't know yet. So, I will figure it out. That is for later.
Well,
yeah.
At this point, I just want to say, because this is kind of related to our earlier conversation, Illyra doesn't go by Nathalin yet.
I know. I don't even know what her actual surname is. What the original one is.
Well, I think, as I established it, but I never published this in like anything canonical, so I don't know if this is the case in this world. She was kind of illegitimately born and didn't have a surname exactly, but she was born to a servant of the Nathalin household, which is why she ended up taking that name.
Okay.
She and Ildar aren't like married or anything.
No, yeah, I knew that.
She, if anything, thinks of him as like a brother eventually.
Okay.
Eventually, not
I know.
Not
Eventually.
immediately. Right. Oh boy. Yeah. But it's Illyra, what can you say? So I was gonna say, if you pick the surname Nathalin, that would be really interesting.
I don't think that's the right move.
No, I don't think so either. But yeah, it just occurred to me, and I was like, how would she react?
I mean, maybe I can. We haven't met. We've mostly met Drow, haven't we? We haven't met a lot of like. Illyra's the only real like elf we've met. So
mostly that is the case. I feel like were there some elves in the promenade, but we didn't really interact with them.
There might have been. I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to like a Drow surname?
I mean, I'd feel like it'd be a little strange for a moon elf to be running around with a Drow surname.
I suppose.
I mean, if you've got ideas, I'm open. Like.
Well, I mean, maybe you could give yourself a title of some kind. Like Amara Moon Whisper or Amara Shadow Stealer or Amara.
We'll workshop that.
Amara,
it's an idea.
the patron saint of lost causes. I don't know, something like that.
Thanks.
Hey, you're trying to chase after the heart of the most emotionally unavailable person in the multiverse, as far as I know. So, I mean,
this is the thing. You say that, and it's not untrue. It's not untrue, but like, I don't know. We've had these conversations, man, and I feel like we have very entirely like two different perspectives on the inner workings of this person.
it is remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, just because like it's funny. It's interesting to me but like, and that's the thing. Neither of us can truly know what is on her mind
Right.
here in where she's real. Like it's not like there's the benefit of like, knowing what she's thinking because you wrote her that way. Like it's not a thing here.
Right.
So
I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if anyone can reach her, I think you can. Because you know a lot about her, you value her, and you're also protecting yourself. But protecting yourself is a key aspect of that.
Yeah.
Because if she senses vulnerability, she will probably discard you, because that's what has happened to her throughout her life. She's highly traumatized by things that have happened in her past.
I know.
Manipulators often were manipulated in their own past.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds a lot like, I don't know. Just from what I recall her remembering in Depths of Madness about Neverin, it sounded like that wasn't that bad. It's like, it's just that he died.
It wasn't that bad.
He died.
Yeah. But he came back eventually. And then it became very bad.
No, then it became very bad.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why I'm avoiding the vampire thing here. Because, like, that's a good way to become very evil very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's about it. It's about what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
But I appreciate it. I appreciate your thoughts on the matter.
Yeah.
And not
I might not be right either. I might be way off. But hopefully the insight will help.
Thanks. And I appreciate you not judging me too harshly either. Just some of the reactions from the others so far, when I'm trying to do this one simple thing, I'm working hard to try to get everybody home, and I'm trying to do this one simple thing that I want to do. And I just feel like I keep getting judged for it. I don't know, like maybe that's why I've been a little testy about it sometimes.
Well, what I would say is try not to take it too personally. We're all scared and we're all worried and we're all snarky, right? You know, I am always in your corner and I am always trying to find ways for you to be happy and fulfilled. And, this is the best I could do for you, essentially, is help you adjust to this world that fits what you're looking for, right? Near as I can see it. And so, if anything, this is a great blessing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing I've always wanted. Magic. I'm an elf. I mean...
Magic, adventure, love, meaning, deep connections.
Yeah, and I don't
know. What's to protest? Right?
Yeah, and here I feel like I can make a difference.
I will try to help the others not poke at you, and I will tease you much less, obviously. I have
appreciate
been
that.
teasing you less, but I will
You
make
have,
sure
you
that I
have.
continue teasing you less because I want you to be happy. And my only recommendation is remember, serve yourself, protect yourself.
I will. Like, don't get me wrong.
And we have your best interests in mind.
Of course. And don't get me wrong. Like, if I try and she rabbits, it's gonna hurt.
But none of us are going to say we told you so.
And I appreciate that. And like, she's actually getting, like, I'm getting emotional, but like in character, she's also getting kind of emotional. Yeah, I appreciate that because I will need the support, but I'm not gonna blind myself. So you have my promise on that.
Great. And I did pack more of this. I had pulled out another wineskin just in case.
Just in case. Aren't we going to a tavern?
You never know.
Never know. Anyway, I'll let you get back to sorting, I guess. I'm gonna go out and watch the stars some more.
You should.
I mean, we're in space, man.
Who knew?
Who knew?
All right. Bless.
And she'll slip back out and head back out onto the deck.
Now then, where did I put... Oh, yes. Continuing to sort things, including a letter, which I have written and tied up, and I make sure I write the name Amara on it, and then I put it back in my kit. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, sounds good to me. Joel?
I'll go ahead and unfasten. I'd like to ask the captain if there's anything in particular we should be, us lubbers should be looking out for. And I will also be loading my crossbow while I do that.
Movement, lad, movement. Keep your eyes on a swivel.
Okay. I'll just kind of like nod as I catch that, but I'm definitely, I'm watching.
Randy, anything from you? We've finished several rounds of your song, such that now you are pretty confident everybody on board could sing it if they needed to do so.
Yeah, 3 quick things. The first thing was like no one's kind of looking or trying, the crew's all busy, distracted. I'm going to just briefly try and luminesce my mark. I'm just curious if like there's any effect to like its like general power or strength or a sense of like, now that we're away from the planet and we're in
does it work in space? And if so, how does it work differently?
Yeah.
The answer to that question is seemingly not at all differently. It luminesces in exactly the way, at exactly the degree that you would expect it to. Maybe that's because the power of the gods extends without or within the whole of this system, or maybe it's just that you haven't gotten far enough away from those locations to be to have diminished. Finally, Eric.
I'm just hanging out down there with Rhiannon, really.
Okay, Rhiannon, anything special or just comforted by the presence of the bulkhead?
Yes. Kris the Grey, y'all fought him, and then you talked him down. 2 questions that I have, since we're coming up here imminently, I remember to ask. Who was spokesperson when you first approached him, and who did the talking down?
It's a good question. I think I was the one who initially addressed him, and I did so in a way that kind of unexpectedly caused him to attack us. I mean, I kind of provoked him a little bit, but it wasn't in a like clearly aggressive, you know me. Anyway, and I think it was Joel who talked him down. Am I remembering that correctly? It was a long time ago. Like Elric would remember.
Yeah, I'll say this for you, Eric. You provoked him, as you pointed out. he took an action, which could be interpreted as an attack, but whatever.
It could pretty
Your
clearly
mileage
be
may
interpreted
vary.
as an
Killed
attack.
multiple people. It's an
It-
attack.
It killed multiple
Wasn't in your
goblins.
party.
Yes. Yes.
And then you
I had to get his
managed-
attention, and I did, and it provoked a much larger reaction than I expected.
You managed to diffuse the situation by submitting to a bit of mind dreaming.
Yeah,
That
he went
was
into
what
my head,
ultimately talked him down.
got some memories out of me. Probably saw his other self. He is much like Chris Oliveira, except that he is younger and more arrogant, if such a thing is possible. That's what I say.
Younger is possible for sure.
Younger is possible.
Younger is definitely possible.
Okay, so Rhiannon, do you wish to do anything with that information, or file it away for later use?
I mean, that is for later use is what I wanted it. So
Okay.
I suspect you and he will get along fine, though. He seems to love magic a great deal.
okay.
Okay, yeah, that's what you meant. Yeah, okay. Anyway, all right. So,
Is
yes.
actually real quick, is Allie close enough that we can have a conversation?
Yeah.
So Amara, there's one thing I wanted to ask you about before we just something we probably want to think about before we potentially meet up with Illyra. Have you thought about how you're going to approach her?
From the front?
A little bit.
I don't know if you've thought about this, but if somebody met Amara, excuse me, if somebody met Illyra and then tried to kill her, and then Illyra tracked her down a few days later, it would probably be to kill them. So I'm worried that Illyra is going to assume that's why we're there, and may start shooting as soon as she sees our faces.
I mean,
or just shadow dance away. Just something to think about. She may assume we're hostile.
it's definitely something to think about, but
Okay.
A factor in that scenario is the fact that we sent for her. So why would we, like? Yes, it could be a trap, but I had someone send for her and say, "Hey,
Okay, that's
meet
true.
me here."
That's true.
If she thought it was a trap, she just would. Yeah,
She wouldn't show up, or just something to think about.
Or show up to spring it. One or the other.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the two. But regardless, I've given it some thought.
Okay.
I'm reasonably confident I can keep things from turning violent.
Immediately going violent. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully. Hopefully though, the mystery that we are has intrigued her enough that she will listen instead of just immediately trying to stab one of us.
Starting to stab people. Okay.
Yeah.
Beginning with murderation. All things in murderation. Okay.
Once I get her talking, though, I'm reasonable. I'm confident that I can hopefully get through to her.
Okay.
How are you going to approach her? From the shadows, with a knife drawn.
No.
The way she likes it, anyway.
All right. Anyway, so back to our voyage. So you'll travel through the Tirsa Salune, through the asteroid field, and the ship's crew are pretty tense because this is the sort of dangerous part of your journey, right? It doesn't last long, maybe only about 30 minutes until you reach your destination. And the only thing you see along the way is the ruins of a ship floating broken apart in space. And these eel-like creatures, a swarm of them, feeding on dead crewmen and, cargo alike. That will sort of, in a very superstitious way, spook your sailors, who will all mutter various things to various gods, Kelmavor most among them, about the bodies of the dead and blah, blah, blah. I think you found your space sharks, Joel. That's what those are. Gabbers. That is in fact what they are, because that's what the crew and the captain will mutter as you're on your way there. But soon enough,
well, that's
you'll
terrifying.
make your way.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's not at all fun. Soon enough, you'll make your way to the view of the Rock of Bral in the distance. And The rock grows larger as you come into view, and again, we can put something up for the viewers when we do it in post that shows you the view that you'll have from the Rock of Bral. It's a sprawling cityscape etched in golden sunlight on the top of a massive asteroid. That asteroid is roughly the size of Manhattan, and it looks like a bustling island floating in the void. It has a pastoral underside, in stark contrast to the vibrant, structured chaos of the city above. The city side is a marvel to behold, a hive of activity that bristles with life. Narrow streets wind between tightly packed buildings of varying heights and architectural styles. Colorful rooftops reflecting the sunlight like scattered jewels. On the farthest side of the city stands a small hill crowned by a majestic palace complex, its spires gleaming like beacons of authority. Before it is a lake, and then on your side, on the city side, sprawling markets, residences, businesses form a maze of humanity and other races that seem to stretch endlessly towards the near surface of the asteroid. Even from a distance, you can make out the bustling docks sprawled across the near edge of the asteroid city. Dozens of spelljamming ships are moored there. Their sleek and bizarre forms silhouetted against the endless void. Ships of all kinds, from compact squid ships to imposing nautiloids, lie anchored, their crews scurrying about like ants from your distance. Another dozen or so ships hover in close orbit around the rock as they hold position in a queue to either dock or depart from it. On the underside of the city, there are lush gardens and small forests dotting the landscape, improbably thriving in the thin atmosphere of space. Streams of sparkling water tumble gently over the edge of the void, caught and redirected by an unseen magical force, and create this delicate veil of mist against the blackness of space. The captain, standing tall at the helm, takes in the scene with a jaundiced eye, but nevertheless says, there she is, the Rock of Bral in all her chaotic glory. Few sights in the spheres can rival this one, my friends, a marvel of commerce, intrigue, and outright skullduggery. If ever there was one, but she's beautiful, aye.
Gorgeous.
Quite.
Yes, she is.
Crew, ready yourselves. We'll bring her close to the docks and await a skiff to guide us in. Helm, maintain course. Steady now. As you get closer, the details of the rock grow sharper. The docks are a hive of activity, with cargo being loaded and unloaded, sailors shouting orders, and dock workers hauling crates and barrels. From the ship, you can see the humming and thrumming energy of life on the rock, of a vibrant contrast to the cold, still void of space around it. The captain turns back to you and says, I hope you've a mind for adventure and a nose for trouble, but there's plenty of both to be found here. But first, let's get you safely docked. Welcome to the Rock of Bral, my friends. Do you know where you're going?
We are going to the Laughing Beholder Tavern, I believe.
The Laughing Beholder, one of the landmarks of this place. You must make a point of saying hi to its proprietor for me. He's an old friend.
Luigi, right?
Yes, indeed. You know a bit about the stars after all.
I'm widely read.
We've heard tale.
Now, you're going to notice something here, and that is that you have not given your names to the captain, and he hasn't asked for them, which is a little unusual. It'll take you a minute. You would normally have expected him to say something like, Joel, you know something about the stars after all, Joel, but nope. So he's clearly been paid for his discretion as well as transportation. Do you have a sense, lad, of how you get there from here?
Not even a little bit. I was actually wondering if any of your crew might be able to guide us there.
Laugh riotously at that fact. Well, do you need a actual guide or just directions? I wasn't paid for a guide.
Well, I feel
honestly,
like directions
I wasn't
suffice.
paid for direction.
If you think your directions would be sufficient to get us there, then directions, I suppose, would suffice. Though the geography of an asteroid may be a little bit different from what we are used to. So
It's
perhaps
a city. If you're used to cities,
perhaps the halfling deckhand might accompany us.
you've noticed him, hey?
I have.
He has a nickname, the Spider. You sure you still want him?
Sounds like exactly who we need guiding us around the Rock of Bral.
Very good, then. I'm confident his services will cost you no more than 100 pieces of gold. 25 to him and 75 to the ship.
Wow.
Do I have you over something of a barrel?
I will need to. I will need to talk to our purser about that.
Consult with your allies, indeed. Very well. As you're doing that, the gauntlet glides into what is clearly a queue for the mooring spaces in the docks here, and a smaller craft flying the colors of the rock begins to approach it. It's clear that that ship has like a boarding party, and that there's going to be some officialdom that's going to occur here, which is going to give you all a chance to talk amongst yourselves. Do you wish to all go below decks seeking your companions, or do those below decks to wish to go above seeking your companions? Who moves first?
I'm going to head back above.
Rhiannon, was that what you were about to say as well?
You're muted.
She's like, I don't think I'm muted.
Yeah, just got to check the audio settings.
Okay, well, nod
converge.
For me
we all converge.
if you would like to go above deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still nothing, Rhiannon. Sorry.
Okay. Well, while she works out that technical snafu, we will assume above decks it is. Okay. So above decks will get you a view of what that stuff that's transacting is, and I'll give you a little bit of a description of it at the moment, but basically you're going to be guided in and dock, so you have a moment to talk amongst yourselves before that happens.
Well, so I believe Joel was discussing with the captain, potentially having the halfling deckhand guide us to the Laughing Beholder. Though the price seems a bit steep.
Seems a little high, but I don't have anywhere near that kind of money on me. Do you? But I also have no idea how much we have in the kitty at this point.
Oh, you can cover that.
Yeah, we can cover it. It's just a lot. It just feels like a lot.
It does.
Okay.
Do we want to counter for 25?
That might be going a bit low too. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think we end up landing in the middle, but I get the impression that he shot the moon on his initial ask. So.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Right over there. The moon.
Right.
It's right over there.
Oh,
yeah, well,
Yes.
yeah.
We
There we
have
go.
you. You have returned to us. Technology has been conquered.
We can cover whatever it ends up being. I'll let you handle that.
Okay.
All right, you've been deputized.
Oh boy.
I mean, I was arguing for like just asking street urchins.
We could probably just
for,
we could,
for
if we
like
want to.
one
If we
gold.
want to
Yeah,
if we want to
Or
roll the dice,
silver.
we could just ask for directions.
I'm happy to just have directions. I think we can figure it out from there.
Did he say something about skullduggery? In case you're thinking of just asking random street urchins for directions.
I mean, I'm not saying we're going to ask for free. Like, I don't trust
Okay.
directions
No.
I get for free. But
Okay.
I think that we can get a better deal.
Do you want to see what deal?
Even ask two different people
Do you want to see
for
what
like
deal
a
you
gold
can
each,
get?
and then
Do you want to see what deal you can get here for directions, or do you just that's it? No deal. No deal. Okay, Rihanna's like no deal. We're taking to the street. Okay.
I mean, 25 gold still seems like a lot to me.
Seems
So
It is.
Oh, it's extortion for sure.
yeah, so we're not going to play that game.
I didn't create this NPC. Ed Greenwood did. You're being extorted on his behalf.
Of course.
Anyway, so as you are having this conversation, it's clear that there's a city official, some kind of harbor master or something, or representative of a harbor master, and a couple of other, bureaucrats who came aboard the ship. And they were dickering with the captain about cargo and docking fees, as well as some sort of a fee to be paid to refresh the ship's air envelope as you all gather and prepare to disembark. Within a half an hour, making your journey from the surface to here about 90 minutes long in total. You find yourself docked along one of the many docking spurs of the city, the Gauntlet moored between a tradesman, which is looks like a giant flying fish ships, and a nautiloid, which is, if you've played Baldur's Gate 3, you know what a nautiloid is. So, who wants to tell the captain you won't be needing his direction?
Amara.
I'll do it.
He
I'm,
likes her.
I'm the one who initiated.
We're all gonna vote for the almost otherworldly, beautiful elf lady to tell the
Okay.
captain.
Okay.
Hey,
All right, that works. Yeah, I will approach the captain.
Mhm.
I think we've
My lady. So what have you
Captain.
decided?
I think we've discussed it, and I think we'll stick with perhaps getting some direction rather than relying on a guide.
So 25 gold then.
25. Well, that does
My
seem...
directions are excellent. You won't get lost.
I have no doubt that your directions are beyond reproach. Still, we don't know how much things are going to run us here in our little visit. I'd
Need to
rather
save a bit of coin for drink once you arrive.
something of the sort. Drink, smoothing of palms, that sort of thing.
I'll tell you what, just because your patron paid me so very much, I'll give you the directions for 10 gold, and I'll throw in a piece of advice along the way. Does that seem fair?
I think that seems
Sure.
certainly fair.
Like
And I'll
it,
even
okay. Rhiannon has acquiesced to the purchasing
yeah,
of directions. Okay.
I'll even pull the gold out and offer.
Okay, he will gladly take it from your hands, brushing his hands across yours as he takes the gold. So the directions, and he'll give them to you. You go down one street, you execute a turn to the left on this street, you go down that street for a pace, you execute a turn to the right on this alley. You have a sense of what they are, and he can actually kind of point in the direction of some landmarks that will get you to that locale.
Okay.
So it doesn't look too hard, but the street looks massively chaotic. It is packed with all kinds of beings in very close proximity to each other. So he'll say, as new people here, it's going to be obvious to people that live on this rock that you don't and haven't been here before. You're going to have that look about you. I would do what I could to be as intimidating as possible and to cut as quick and as tight a path through. If you had a gift with you or something, that would prove ideal. But as quick and as tight a path through this place as you can. Oh, and keep your eyes on halflings and young Shao lads.
Noted. Certainly we have had some practice with similar dangerous environments, so I don't think that should be difficult.
Excellent. Well then. And he offers you a handshake.
And I will take the hand.
Okay. He will shake it, turn it over, kiss it, and say, then may time more guide you to your destination. For my work here is done. And that is where we will take our break.
All right. Well, we made it to the Rock of Bral. Maybe we're going to have a brawl on the Rock of Bral. We'll see.
We'll see.
Anyway, we'll see you back in a few minutes. Hello, well met. Welcome to the penultimate, almost near the end of Isekai Realms.
And we are back. And I skipped past the thing that Randy wanted to do. So Randy, let us roll back as we must in order to do that thing. So go ahead and talk to me.
Okay. Well, just, while we were standing at the rail there with the beautiful view next to Jamal, I'll turn to her and I'll just say, hey, I just wanted to check in after, that night at the party.
She'll laugh a little bit like a schoolgirl when you say that. That night at the party.
Yeah. For myself, I enjoyed it very much. And your company. And, I embrace whatever companionship you want to offer because, life is too short not to, especially when banished far from home.
Very much so.
And uncertain of if or when I'll see it. But I also don't want to make it, a bigger deal than it needs to be. I just want to be conscious of the fact that you're kind of bound to me in terms of your ability to interact and converse in this world, and that I might be leaving this world at some point in the near-ish future. And this is a culture I don't fully understand, so I just kind of wanted to touch base with you and understand what you're feeling, and make clear where we stand on that.
All right. She'll give you a look as she starts to talk that's like a bit wistful, right? And warm, but like there's, obviously some conflicted thoughts in her mind. And she'll say, I'll confess, Randy, that I considered myself in life long past the age when romance was a thing that I was concerned overmuch with. And in many ways, through my service in the world beyond, I've had a chance to experience some things that I didn't know, and she's gesturing out right into the expanse around you, that I would ever have a chance to experience or experience again. And I was just moved. And Salune is a patron of sorts to Finder. She was involved in his elevation to his present status. It's amazing what you find out when you die, she'll say in a joking manner. And I couldn't help but think that that moment of the moon sphere, when it wouldn't normally have manifested, was meant for us. And so if I had met you in life, and she's gesturing at herself as she is now, when I was this girl, I would have wanted to know you, Randonius. And so I did what I would have done had I met you at that time. And I hope that wasn't undesired on your part.
No, not at all. I was embracing the moment. It was unexpected. Sometimes, there's there's this invisible hand guiding things, and it does things I don't expect, but learn to roll with it and enjoy it, and you are a person worth knowing, and I expect the more that we enjoy each other's company, the greater the sadness if and when we have to part. But I just wanted to be sure that that was an exchange that we both chose and understand and consent to.
I did, for my part. And I would welcome a chance to do so again if the gods are kind enough to us to allow it. Whether you choose to stay or to go is your decision. But Finder has put faith in you. And so I think, Randy, I have not seen the last of you, nor you of me, but we will see. And just so you know, you are my mission. And so, yes, I am in many ways bound to you, but I am capable of going distances away from you, at least for periods of time, as the need might acquire. And I am capable of interacting with the world around me to some limited degree. As I think I said to you once, I feel as though I could spend aspects of my essence to affect the world. I'd be cautious how much of it I would do, because I would not want to unravel myself altogether without a very good cause. I don't know if that would transition me to the afterlife or consign me to oblivion. But know that if I thought I needed to save you and further our, Lord Finder's mission, I would.
Wow. Well, hopefully there's no sacrifice needed. You've already sacrificed once for us, and I hate for you to do it again. I'm very much look forward to our time, and I'm glad that you can get, can enact your own agency and have your space. It's important to have space, It's important to have your own space and have your own thing going on. So I'm glad that that's the case.
She'll smile ruefully at you as you say that.
Yeah.
And she'll put her hand sort of through yours on the railing of the deck. So it's sort of sitting in the middle. You can feel the little bit of a chill of having her hand sit through your hand on the deck.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Randy. So you paid your 10 gold, you got your directions, you're ready to use them. Allie indicated to me, I don't remember whether this was during our break or before it, I'm putting my valuables in a very secure location.
Yes.
Nobody's taking my stuff.
The coin purse that carries the party's money, she is going to tuck into her armor and like buckle it so that it doesn't it's going to take some work for somebody to steal it from her.
Is anything else, or does anyone else want to do anything in particular other than do your best to hide your valuables and secure them?
And ask Ferris to keep some teeth ready to bite little fingers.
Okay.
Oh, that's perfect.
I have prepared numerous small pamphlets about the glory of Helm and secreted them about my person. So that if people pick my pocket, that's what they'll find, because I have no valuables.
Little like rolled up scripts that say, "Welcome to the glory of Helm. Have you entered a temple of Helm lately?"
I'm eventually going to commission some coins, like copper coins, that just have like a Helm gauntlet on them, and they go, "Just say no," and on the other side it says "to stealing."
That's pretty clever. I like that.
Like, that's the opposite of what works. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just say
I understand.
Made things worse.
Meanwhile,
I
Amara has an
understand.
entire...
I understand. This is just a
vibrant
joke.
diversity of opinion. Vibrant diversity of opinion in the group.
Meanwhile, Amara has a candy dish full of those specific coins that she stole from Elric. So
there you go. You recycle them into the world. Yeah.
Because it's funny.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. So it's better than one of my home players who insists on putting explosive runes on various things and then dropping them on the ground on the hopes that people will look at them. So,
Dropping them on the ground?
Yeah.
At least put them in your pocket so that there's like karmic justice.
He once
dropping them on the ground.
He once handed a note to someone in a dungeon, person who was a dungeoneer who was keeping prisoners, I'm here to give you this note. And the person cracked open the note and blew them.
Someone's
it's like an
been reading
extended order of the stick joke, isn't it?
Someone's clearly been reading Order of the Stick.
Yeah.
I knew someone in real life who would go around super gluing quarters to sidewalks and just like enjoy watching people try to pick them up.
No.
I think it might be the same dude, Randy. Anyway, all right.
Yeah.
So back to our story. Okay, so you will plunge out into the streets. As you leave the docks and the gauntlet behind, you find yourselves in the midst of a crush of activity. The dockside is teeming with life. Humans, half-elves, dwarves, and a smattering of other more exotic races from realm space.
Never gets old.
Never. Vendors shout from makeshift stalls, hawking everything from exotic fruits and roasted meats, uncertain provenance, to trade goods of every sort. The air is thick with the mingling sense of sweat, wood smoke, and spices. Crates are being loaded and unloaded. Sailors bark orders, and gift mercenaries sail like sharks through the crowd. Their imposing forms parting the sea of humanity and more with ease. Pushing through the chaos of the docks, you reach Dock Street, a wide thoroughfare that runs both north and south. Here, the traffic is a little less chaotic, but still pretty dense. Packs of dwarves scurry about, their faces set with the determination of hard labor, while shifty halflings dart in and out of the crowd. These are some of the things you've been told to be wary of. Their eyes glinting with mischief. At the edge of the crowd, you spot a knot of young Shao youths, their bright silk robes and intricate tattoos marking them as members of one of the Rock's more infamous street gangs. You were also warned against them, so we'll keep your heads on a swivel as you pass. They eye you curiously, but don't really make much of a move to approach. You do now look like seasoned adventurers, unlike the folks that you were when you first wandered out onto the streets of Westgate. Turning left onto Dragon Street, the noise and press of bodies begins to thin. The architecture here grows less ramshackle with larger buildings, many sporting signs in multiple languages lining the street. The road winds westward and eastward. You are going eastward, and the crowd becomes a mix of local citizens and traders, many carrying bundles of goods or leading carts piled high with cargo. A family of Drakon. Again, I will send an image for Allie to put into the thing. But Drakon are basically like sort of humanoid dragons with 4 legs and long tails, and the upper bodies of sort of a combination of humans and dragons. Strides past, their massive reptilian forms drawing wary glances from passersby. The youngest of them carrying a crate over one shoulder with ease, its claws clicking lightly on the cobblestone. As you near the intersection with Eel Street, you take a left into a narrow alley. Here, the noise of the city fades further, replaced by the sound of your own footsteps echoing off the stone walls. The alley stretches long and winding, with only a handful of people loitering in the shadows or moving purposefully towards their destinations. Finally, maybe 20 minutes after you left the docks, the alley opens into a modest courtyard. Ahead stands the Laughing Beholder Tavern. Its sign contains the image of a cartoonish beholder with wide laughing mouth and eye stalks around it. The area around the tavern is alive with a more reasonable amount of activity, a marked contrast to the crush of bodies near the docks themselves. Patrons come and go, and the murmur of conversation and the clinking of mugs can be heard from inside as the doors swing open periodically. You are at the end of a nearly 200,000-mile journey. What do you want to do before you enter the tavern?
Spokesperson. Let's talk.
So did he give us any specific instructions about like where inside we were supposed to meet him?
The admonition went something along the lines of, go there and tarry. If I'm not there by the end of that day, I'm probably not coming. Like, I might be dead. Like, that was pretty much
Good to know.
the thing.
What a dick. All right.
Yep.
And that sums it up nicely. And the other piece of information was Allie made arrangements to meet someone and pretty much said 2 days, tavern, without necessarily saying lurk behind the left, because no one knows, right? We haven't been inside this place, so it's hard to say, knock thrice on the door to the blah, blah, blah.
And yeah, and to that point, Amara will say, well, I will leave those discussions to all of you. I have my own meeting to keep. And I wish you luck.
Amara, do you think it's smart to go solo, or do you think somebody else ought to be at least within visual range of you if we get split up?
Randy, Jamal will say, I can follow her if it helps to you, but remember, you're the only one who hears that.
I'll convey that to the party.
Oh. Well, that will be helpful. And she won't know that that's a thing. So Jamal can warn all of you if things get dicey.
Sounds pretty good.
Works for me.
I'll ask Jamal if she minds.
She'll be happy to do whatever she can to help the group.
Put my hand on Amara's shoulder, and I say, good luck. And I think, is there anything you need from me?
Well, if you can give me any hints on how to get through to her.
Like, we're just having this, like, I'm putting my hand on her shoulder and we're like meeting eyes for like a long time. And I go, well, she distrusts honesty and openness and vulnerability. And she is drawn to what interests her and mysteries and questions.
So
you can convince her you're an ally by helping her in some way.
All right.
That's the best advice I can give to you. She's a brat and she has not learned to be an adult yet. She's only a child, essentially. She's a teenager. as elves go. Keep that in mind. You, Allie, are older than she is, mentally speaking. Good luck.
Understood. And I'll say, the thing that kills me there, the thing that gets me is, on some level, the voice in my head was right. In that, to make this work, I'm going to need to manipulate Ilra.
Yeah. But it's okay. You're going to play a game with each other.
Those rascally voices give good advice.
Lean into the game. At least until you win her trust. And how do you do that? I have no idea. I did not write that part of her story. Okay? So I don't know how you win her trust.
Well, good thing I'm good at LARPing a charismatic, manipulative so-and-so.
There you go.
All right.
Don't lie to her. She will know it.
No, yeah.
Okay.
So is there a
Good luck.
desire to go in solo first with just Jamal as backup? So you're going to scout this place one way or the other? Okay. All right. So I'm going to read this description. Assume that when all of you come in, you're going to get a similar description, so I don't have to repeat myself. Inside, the tavern has a warm and inviting atmosphere. It's a haven for spacefarers, rogues, and adventurers of all types. The layout is oddly shaped, somehow spacious yet still cozy, with round wooden tables scattered about the polished floor. Lanterns hang from the ceiling around the room, emitting soft magical glows that cast lingering shadows. The design of the room is vaguely like that of the body and eyes of a beholder. And again, I'll be sending an image for you to put up. The entry hall is the mouth, with 6 tables strewn about. At the center of the room is a large octagonal oaken bar, its central eye, with patrons sitting around it trading stories and drinks. Around that central eye sits a smaller series of alcoves, the eye stalks of the room. Each alcove branching off from the main room provides a modicum of privacy. They're colored, different colors, stone flooring indicating different zones of the tavern for private gatherings or reserve parties or the like. There's a hole in the ceiling in the center of the room, directly above the octagonal space, kind of beholdery sized. The place is alive with chatter, laughter, and the occasional song or bawdy joke shared among its patrons. The smell of roasting meats, exotic smoke, and sweet ales fills the air. The clientele is as diverse as realm space itself. Humans, elves, dwarves, gif, lizard folk all mingling together. The tavern pulses with life, yet there's peaceful atmosphere, as if everyone knows that the proprietor is not to be trifled with. Speaking of said proprietor, behind the large central octagonal oak bar is a most unusual sight. Floating serenely in the tavern's namesake and proprietor, Large Luigi. His enormous, 6 feet across, maroon spherical body dominates that space above the central bar, yet he seems to move with effortless grace. From the top of his form, 10 eye stalks wiggle independently, their movements oddly hypnotic as they peer in all directions. The center of his face, and he's facing the doorway, is occupied by a massive, heavy-lidded green, vibrant green eye, calm and luminous, watching the room with an unblinking gaze. Curiously, all 11 of his eyes, the one in the middle and the 10 smaller ones, match the exact shade of the central green eye. Below that central eye is a broad mouth filled with dagger-shaped teeth, yet the grin that's coming from it is more warmth and cheerfulness rather than menace. He's humming a slightly off-key star shanty in a deep, gruff baritone, as one of his eye stalks is directing a polishing rag around a mug in slow, methodical circles, like a telekinesis ray is polishing a mug. Nearby patrons around the bar, and the place is 3/4 full, seem at ease in his presence, chatting and laughing as if they're oblivious to the dangerous potential that a beholder inherently represents. Luigi appears to enjoy their company, occasionally interjecting with a hearty laugh or a word of advice delivered in his booming voice, which carries a distinctly theatrical, piratical flair, if piratical is a word. As you enter, he's talking to a burly dwarven craftsman seated at the bar, his voice carrying across the bustling tavern like a seasoned performer delivering a monologue. "Aye, you see, Glark," he says with a grin on his face as he's polishing this thing with his telekinetic beam. "There ain't no finer brew this side of Ohakatla than what we're slipping now. Fermented with star fruit, no less. A marvel, if I do say myself. But don't ye go telling that lot from the broken mast, aye? They'll be swarming me for me secrets faster than you can say plunder." And which he rolls the R's at the end of and bursts into companionable laughter. Please roll a 20-sided die.
All right.
13.
That would be an 8.
Just Allie, because Allie's the only one in the door at the moment.
Sorry.
Okay, no worries.
8.
Okay, an 8. All right, so you're looking around the room, and I know what you're looking for first, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no obvious sign of her in this common room.
Didn't figure there would be.
There are a number of, as I said, sort of shadowy alcoves and whatnot. You would need to take a circuit around the room to ensure that she wasn't lurking in one of those alcove chambers that are designed for privacy. And you couldn't be 100% sure that she wasn't actually one of the people that doesn't look like her that is in this place, as there are about the same number of female patrons as there are male ones. And if she was attempting to disguise herself, she could very well be any one of them. So just because she's not out in the open doesn't mean she isn't in the room. What would you like to do? Your compatriots are waiting outside.
I mean, I'll take the circuit.
Okay.
I won't make it too quick. I'm not going to be too obvious about it. But I'm also sort of acting as bait in a way. Because like
draw someone out if there's a problem.
If I had wanted to, because I could have masqueraded as someone else if I wanted to. But I want her to know I'm here, and I want to draw her out and draw her attention. So I'll make that slow circuit.
To attract a predator, one must be prey. Fair enough. All right, so you will do that slow circuit.
Yes.
Those of you outside, how long do you wish to tarry?
I'd say no more than a minute or two. I understand if Allie wants to try to look like we aren't arriving together, but I don't think we want to be hanging out in the courtyard either.
Yeah.
Okay, so one note. Second edition turns are in 10-minute intervals. Maybe we should give her a full 10 minutes. That was my little meta observation of the day.
What is the consensus of the group on this particular subject? Jamal's still inside, Randy, so has not come out to say the place is on fire and filled with demons. So, there's that.
I mean, I sort of thought we were, in as much as we have appointments in the same place, we're splitting up. And so
that was kind of my understanding to some degree. Like, I didn't realize, Amara doesn't realize that people are waiting for her. Like, she's just kind of.
I'm not sure that was really our idea either.
It's in which case, she goes in, and then we should gather ourselves, and us go in, and all walk in first.
Okay, so Eric suggested the 10-minute wait. It looks like 10 minutes is not going to make it.
No.
Okay. Eric, they seem to have
But
vetoed
wait,
your idea.
the rules! No, it's fine. It's fine. We can just head in.
All right. So you'll all sort of pass through the doors in this place, and I won't repeat my introduction, but you have a general idea of what it looks like, how it's laid out, and what you can expect. It doesn't take long for you to find Allie from within the place, and you, Randy, to find Jamal, who's lurking in a way designed not to fall into the obvious gaze of that beholder in the center of the room. So even she is a little bit, wary around a beholder, which, by the way, for the record, I have a specific miniature. That is large Luigi in miniature form.
That's glorious.
I'm just gonna stop and stare. I'm gonna be like, I know I shouldn't be staring. It's the absolute wrong thing to be doing to a beholder, but holy crap, that's a beholder.
That's a beholder, and it's serving drinks, and it talks like a pirate. So you'll spot Allie making a slow circuit of the room, right? And you'll see that. Allie's clearly absorbed, right? So what do all of you want to do?
I think we find a table.
Yeah, get a table, get some drinks.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want a table in the mouth section? Do you want a table closer to the bar? What's your pleasure?
Is there a table near where Jamal is lurking?
Everybody leaves.
Yeah,
not too close to the bar. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to be super close to that beholder.
And not the private rooms.
Okay, so sort of like
found.
at the edge of the mouth to the body section of the place. Okay, so you're probably about 30-ish feet from the central bar of the place. Okay, so you'll do that, and you're looking, kind of around the room, and you see that there's one rather pretty blonde barmaid with long blonde, flowing blonde hair, who's moving about this place, but a lot of other people are just going right up to the bar and ordering drinks or food from Luigi directly. So it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other, how you want to do that. Allie, can you roll a 20-sided die for me?
Yes, I can. Let me just get that. 7.
All right. No obvious sign of her. And you have yet to lure out her, if that is your intention. You're completing your circuit. You'll see your party has sort of gathered themselves at a particular seat, sort of edge of that, like 30-ish feet away from the central bar. Do you want to take a different chair, maybe sit at the central bar, or do you want to join them?
I think I'll find a different seat someplace. Possibly even if there's an open space in one of these secluded areas, I might go ahead and take a seat in one of those.
There is if I can find my mouse somewhere. I have a mouse. Okay, I can't find my mouse, so I'm just going to say there is totally a secluded area. And it's in one of the sort of northern tier of rooms, green room. It's like a green floored, walled room that has no one in it at the moment. So you could very easily just pop a squat in that particular room. All right, so that's what you'll do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the rest of you, do we wait for the barmaid or do we approach the bartender?
Just to clarify, do we have line of sight to Amara?
You lost it when she went into the room.
Okay.
So yeah, a private conversation could conceivably occur in there, with or without daggers.
Or a private stabbing, or
yes. hence the with or without daggers. Yeah.
Her choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? Do you really? All right, it's fine. It's fine. We trust
you. Because we don't.
Your trust in me is lovely, Eric. Thank you.
Okay, so those of you sitting at the table, bartender or barmaid?
I'm not going up to stare at a beholder from up close, but when y'all can, if you want.
It seems very friendly.
I'll collect drink orders and then go place them for the party.
Okay, so you'll move up to head towards the beholder. Okay. Sure. Anybody else headed towards Beholder Central?
No.
Randy? No. This one.
Sure, I'll go with Joel. Back with Joel.
I was just going to say, this is Joel's solo mission. All right.
No, I'll go with Joel.
A curious thing happens as Randy gets up to follow Joel to the bar. Rhiannon, your companion, who has, kind of climbed out and sat on your shoulder to observe this place and check everybody out, makes a scampering leap across the table and lands on Randy's shoulder. I guess he wants a closer look.
Or he wants a drink.
Okay.
He's his own ferret, so.
He is his own
Okay.
ferret. It does not change my position on the issue. All right. So you can now, Allie, see Randy, Joel, and the ferret, the trio, approaching the bar, sort of like from where now your perspective is on them. So you've got eyes on at least 50% of the remaining portion of the party, 50% plus a ferret of the remaining portion of the party. And you'll go, I guess, rolling up on the bar. Do you want to wait till one of the eye stalks notices you and the beholder turns in your direction? Joel, you're leading this party.
Sure. Well, I will wait for Luigi to acknowledge me. I'm not going to interrupt him if he's in the middle of a story or talking.
He was serving a drink in that direction. One eye stalk noticed you approached, and after just a few moments, his entire body and most of his attention will shift your way. Well, now, he'll boom in that theatrical, piratical word I invented, baritone. New faces gracing me establishment. Welcome to the Laughing Beholder. Finest tavern on the rock. What'll it be, me hearties? Food, a drink, or perhaps a table to share with this old salt? Please roll a 20-sided die, the two of you.
18.
13. Lucky
right.
13.
Well, thankfully for Randy. So you're oblivious to this, Joel. Randy will pick up on it. Are those of you at the table watching this interaction like very closely? Okay. You also can roll two 20-sided dice. Well, one each.
That's 19. So,
Okay, so again, oblivious.
16.
Your focus is on the ferret, Ariana. And Eric, you rolled a 16?
16.
Okay, so you'll see in broad what happens, but only Randy's going to pick up on this subtle detail.
Okay.
Randy, as he takes a closer look at the two of you, he sort of like turns on you. Oh, I'll give you this welcoming speech because here we've got some guests or whatever the case may be. Like a look of surprise, right? Like widening of the eyes passes across all 10 of his smaller eye stalks. Like come and gone in an instant, right? His grin flickers, replaced for a moment by a, unreadable expression. You think, Joel, he's contemplating drink orders or something like that you're about to make. And just as Joel opens his mouth to speak, a streak of black and silver fur darts from your shoulder and hops onto one of his eye stalks. What do you want to do, Joel? You were about to order some drinks or some stuff.
Ferris, what are you doing? I'm sorry.
You'll play it off. He's crazy.
He's a silly fella. He hasn't bit him, has he?
He has not. He has not bitten him. He's scampering like up and down one of his eye stalks. Randy, do you have anything to say, or like Luigi is momentarily surprised? Rhiannon, you're shocked.
I'll say, it's me, Mario. No,
he won't get it.
Yeah, no, I know. I wouldn't say that.
We're probably not the first people from Earth to come through.
You never know. Okay,
say,
so
so sorry. Do you know each other?
So you'll say that. Eyes are orienting on the ferret, moving with speed towards the body, down like the stalk towards the body of the beholder. Ferris kind of effortlessly scrambles with astonishing dexterity up against the bulbous head of the beholder and begins chittering rapidly and excitedly in what must pass for a beholder's ear. Luigi said nothing to you so far. And his central eye now widens, narrows in apparent thought as he's listening, his grin creeping back into place. His eye stalks, the other 10, quiver for an instant, almost as if in amusement. Something's going down between that ferret and that beholder.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
What do you got for me? Anything, or just want to let that play out?
Okay.
Okay, in the moment
whatever he says, that's Whatever he says,
Where did that ferret
I'm
come
sure we
from?
can explain.
Never seen that ferret before in our
mean
lives.
No harm, but we don't know what's going on. All right, so you'll do that to try to disarm the situation. Anything,
Yeah.
Rhiannon, from you? Anything from you, Eric? Has the ferret attacked him? Like, what's going on over there? Anything?
Can't speak with animals.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna stand up, but then think better of it.
And sit back down again.
Well, I'm gonna stay standing, but not walk
Okay.
over there.
Not walk over there. Okay. Well, in the time it takes you all to do that, Luigi will reply to whatever this chittering that's going on in his ear area will be. Will, he'll mutter with a grin on his face. The stars be aligning in peculiar ways today. Quite the interesting turn this. Ferris, done chittering, hops down from Luigi's head to the bar, landing with nimble ease, and without missing a beat, begins fishing nuts from a bowl sitting nearby, grinning up at you like a mischievous child. He's looking at you, Rhiannon. He's looking at you. Luigi's grin broadens again, and he raises his deep voice sort of above the din of the tavern. Well met, me new friends. He'll incline sort of his entire body with a bow in the direction of the two of you and the two at the table. Eve brought more curiosity through me door tonight, I reckon. Elsa, that must be the name of that blonde barmaid, because she clearly responds to it. Ready the purple room. Lass, I've a feeling these fine folk and I've some talking to do that warrants a touch more privacy. From across the room, that stunning blonde, Elsa, will begin angling towards a room in sort of the southeast corner, which is purple, both on the walls and on the floor, and busying herself within it. He'll turn to the two of you and say, now then, gesturing with one of his eye stalks towards a row of drinks at the end of the bar, grab a drink if you like, and once it's ready, and once you are, follow me. A tale or two, mayhap a secret or three, awaits us in the purple room. You got anything for that?
Wonderful. Yeah, I get a stiff drink.
I'll say to
Eric,
Ferris, hey, people certainly don't wash their hands here before dipping into that. I wouldn't be eating them.
And my reaction is that if he wanted privacy, advertising to everyone in the bar that he was having a secret conversation may not have been the best way to keep it secret.
Those pirate beholders, they're rascally.
Subtlety, not, I mean, okay, no beholders are really subtle, but
He's floating across the bar and headed towards the purple room. Elsa's in there mucking about.
I'll grab 3 drinks. Is there a small drink for Ferris?
No, there are no ferret-sized drinks.
There are no ferret-sized
No
symbols.
ferret-sized
Okay,
drinks.
Don't encourage him.
Yeah.
He's bad enough when he's not drinking.
Okay.
All those eyes, not an eye for
Point out
discretion.
that we're gonna have a chat later. To Ferris.
He'll look up at you and sketch you a little way.
I guess I'll scoop up the drinks, and so I'm assuming the folks over at the table heard that as well.
Eric is
Everybody in the bar
there.
heard that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Okay.
Rhiannon, you seem to be the only one other than Allie that's not heading for that destination.
Well, I mean, of course I am.
Okay, now
You
you're
just
going.
hadn't got to me yet.
Okay, gotcha. All right. When you get close enough to the bar, Ferris will scamper over, and if you'll let him, hop up onto your shoulder.
Can I mean, I know I can only do this if he lets me. Can I catch him to do the hold under the armpits?
Yes, he likes that move. So yeah, you can do that.
and I'm just gonna meet his eyes.
Merry sparkling little ferret eyes meet yours back.
And then he could be on my shoulder.
Okay. And he'll climb up there. All right. Randy, Jamal looks shocked. He's literally her mouth is agape by this entire set of developments. And she'll say, what do you want me to do?
Can you check out the purple room? Make sure there's no traps waiting for us in there.
Oh, okay. And off she goes, headed towards the purple room. Allie?
And is
go ahead, Joel. What did you want to say?
I was just going to ask if Allie was moving to join us as well.
I'm going to ask what Allie is going to do. I'll let you all die in the purple room. At least one person's making it out of here alive. Gotcha. You have baited your trap. You are waiting for the creature to come and spring your trap that you have baited. Okay. All right. So I assume all of you will head towards the purple room with the exception of Allie, who is serving as bait. Is that a correct statement?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah. So you follow Luigi into the purple room. This room, oddly shaped like a lopsided heart with warm wooden walls painted in soft lavender hues. There's a small 3-person table sitting to one side of the chambers of the heart, right, the smaller of the two. Its surface is laden with an eclectic spread of food and drink. Wheels of cheese of various hues, jars of pickles glistening in brine, crusty loaves of bread, bottles of amber ale, and a tub filled with what looks like eels and a savory sauce. Their scent in here is a heady mix of tangy pickles, fresh bread, and the salty brine of the eels. This room's clearly set for people to come in and use it, and the things that are left in here are things that can sit on a table for a while without necessarily having to be refrigerated. Large Luigi hovers serenely over the larger 6-person table in the wider part of the room. His eye stalks arranged in a symmetrical pattern, engaged in a calm observation of all of you. His central eye gazes warmly at you as you step in, and Elsa, as you step in, steps out and closes the doors to this room. This room is the only room in this place with doors behind you. Anyone have a problem with the fact that the doors are being closed behind you and you're now being locked in with a beholder? Anyone want to take any actions connected to that? Or
No.
okay, fair enough.
Not really.
Allie,
Put on that +1 defense ring that I was recently given, but other than that,
that makes sense.
Okay, Allie, you have now lost line of sight on the party. Just FYI. Okay. When the doors close, right? You can tell that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I guess I could start humming whatever that like counter.
In case someone was going to use. Okay, you'll do that under your breath. You'll see Jamal in here. She will have already sort of met you at the doorway to indicate that the only traps appear to be pickles. Although she wouldn't try the eel. And ask whether you want her to stay in the room or leave it.
Oh, why don't you step outside just in case, like, if you see anything weird happening that we should know about.
I'll watch Allie.
Okay.
All
watch over Allie.
Yeah, well, that's what she meant. Okay.
Well, so, maybe and watch Allie. No.
Literally. Okay. So when the doors close, the sound is almost completely gone from the outside room. This room looks like it has been treated to have private meetings. Whether that's magical or just sort of like the materials that the room is constructed of is anyone's guess. But that point you made earlier, Joel, yeah, everybody knows he's in here, but they don't necessarily know, unless they're leaning against the wall, what's being said in this room. His demeanor kind of relaxes once the doors close, and he starts to talk to you. Only that pirate's brogue that he had a moment ago dissolves completely into a extremely gentlemanly British-ish accent, utterly at odds with his earlier persona. Welcome, my friends. Please make yourselves comfortable. The table to the left is at your disposal. I'm doing this even though I have eye stalks instead of hands. Assume I'm using an eye stalk when I'm doing this. Take what you will to sate your hunger and quench your thirst. When you're ready, please sit at the table.
So is there food laid out?
Mm-hmm. There's pickles, there's cheese, there's crusty bread, there's that suspicious-looking eels and savory sauce. There's ale. Anybody want any of that, or do we not eat the beholder's food?
Sure. I'm actually going to try the eel.
You're
I
all
ain't
very
trying
much
to
you're all very much in for a penny, in for a pound about this situation. You're like, okay,
Sure.
I'm in the room with
I'm in
the
for a pickle, in for a pound.
mysterious beholder. I might as well eat the food. Okay, so does anyone, perhaps I should flip this, does anyone not want to eat the food? I'm looking at you, Rhiannon.
Why are you looking at me? I like
Because
food.
normally you're the one who doesn't eat the fairy's food.
Oh, no,
No, that's me. I'm the one who never eats.
All right, there you
yeah.
go.
No, I'll
No,
have
that's
some
me.
food. I never drink the alcohol because I hate the taste of most alcohols, and I know better than to drink water. But so I'll do my dance of like seeing if I can find the smallest ale kind of thing, and sip to that.
Okay. Everybody else is digging in. Food's good. Eel is actually delicious, Joel. It's kind of like a sweet and soury, savory sauce that this is in. It's almost like have you had Japanese eel where they have this sort of like brown sauce that goes over it? It tastes a little bit like that. And as you're all sort of taking a seat at the table, there you go. Your host will say, "Welcome, players. I'm always honored to meet new players to the game, especially those visiting from what your world might refer to as the future light cone." Would you prefer to begin with questions, or shall I take a moment to expound upon those things I know to set the table, as it were?
What's your connection? What's your connection to Kris the Grey?
Then. Until a few moments ago, he'll incline his head in the direction of your furry friend. I'd never heard of him.
How do you know ferret? Oh, how do you know the ferret?
And
what's the ferret's name?
Until a few moments ago, I'd never met him either. I believe Ferris.
You're awfully trusting of small mammals.
I mean, I'll say I thought I saw a look of recognition pass. Was that just for us or for the ferret in particular?
It was for you. I recognized you as players. I apologize that it took me a moment to do so.
So there are other. Well, we know there are other players connected with Kris the Grey, but you don't know him. So, what other players do you know?
Or tell us about the game.
Well, there's two questions on the table. Which one would you like answered first? If you're going to ask about the game, I'm probably going to give you a long narration, that expounding I was talking about doing a moment ago. Or I could try to answer your more direct questions first. Really all up to you.
I mean, it's more sensible just to get the main information and then ask questions. It's just...
I've heard the phrase information dump used to describe what I think I'm about to do to you all. Are you ready?
Yep.
Beverages and food in hand.
Exposition, go.
Exposition, go. As we settle into our little chat, let me begin by addressing an urgent matter related to your friend Kris the Grey. He will soon arrive here, seeking both yourselves, and it would seem, and again, central eye looking at Ferris, clear that this is where he got that information, me. However, I must ask something of you, for the sake of the balance. You see, the game must be fair, or the results are invalid. I have it on good authority, again looking at Ferris, that Kris is not yet ready to hear the truths that I would impart. His time will come, of that I'm certain, but it is not now. So in the interest of fairness, I ask you this. Do not share anything I am about to tell you with him unless it's clear he already knows it. Some truths are best discovered when the mind is ready to bear them. What I'm about to tell you concerns the game, this great sprawling game that we all play, whether we realize it or not. The stakes are high, the players vast in number, and the pieces, oh, but they are ever in motion. Do I have your word for the sake of the balance?
Yes.
For the sake of the balance.
To pull one over on Kris the Grey.
For the sake of the balance.
For the sake of the balance and bringing that asshole down a peg. Let's go.
He's now, all 11 eyes are oriented on one dude. It's Joel Everett.
Yes.
Excellent. He's gonna take that as a set. Then let us get on with it, for time is ever a cruel mistress. Ah, my dear players, where to begin? Perhaps with myself, for that may help you trust what I'm about to share. I am not a simple member of my race. Most beholders are driven mad by paranoia and power, but I faced trials in pursuit of that power. What I found was knowledge. Knowledge so vast, it shattered my view of the world, of all worlds. It set me upon this path as an oracle. Again, I'm using my tentacles, not my hands. Charged with preserving that knowledge and sharing it in ways that preserve the balance. He gestures broadly with one eye stalk, tone growing more somber. The balance you see is paramount. I normally require a fee for what I share. Knowledge for knowledge, a song from your world, perhaps. He's looking at you, Randy. But time grows short. Today, I ask only that you owe me one. He's clearly familiar with the phrase, although he doesn't necessarily know exactly what it means. He may never have used it before. You see, the balance must be preserved, and I suspect the knowledge I am about to share will be critical to your journey. He leans forward, drifting a little bit, somewhat conspiratorially. What I will share is a mix of what I know and what I suspect. I am the archive, but even my knowledge is what the universe wishes to be known. Yet what I know is this. You are players in the great game, one of many groups, scattered across worlds and timelines, but yours is special. You hail from what your future might call, or your kind might call, the future light cone, and that makes you fascinating. I know little of you, but your arrival tells me this. The gods, now or in the future, are fully engaged in the great game. Something must be happening in your world to make you more susceptible to the calls of faith from the gods of this one. The game, my friends, is changing, perhaps growing bigger than even I can comprehend. It began long ago, though its true origin is obscured. Before players, there were dreamers and creators, those who revealed the rules of the game and detailed the worlds across which it would be played. Then came the first players, powerful beings who arrived alone. These were players without storytellers, perhaps players and storytellers in one. They shaped this world in ways none could foresee, but they lacked the knowledge of those who would follow. Seeing the first players enter the world, the gods began to meddle. Some of them, acting with foresight, planted detailed knowledge of these worlds into your world. They wove the contours of the game into your culture, ensuring that when the next generation of players arrived, they would come armed with specific knowledge of these worlds. Knowledge, my friends, that has allowed them to compete favorably with their predecessors. And now, you are a newer breed of player, connected to those who came before you, but with powers and rules of your own. I see no dungeon masters of your own story among you, and that is fascinating. It means you are connected to other stories and other storytellers. But consider this. You may be tools, weapons, or even guides to those who came before you. Who knows? What is clear is that you are stronger together than you would be apart. Your presence here, in this time and in this place, reminds me or convinces me that choices being made now matter deeply. This must be a pivotal moment in the great game. You are players, beings of immense importance, with powers that defy even the might of the gods. You can cross worlds, you can pierce the veil. Your choices can shape this world in even ways the gods cannot. But know this, the gods are not idle. The way you were brought here and the powers you wield tell me that the gods must be acting together in uneasy alliances forged under the rules of the game to preserve that balance. Some gods have long-term plans, others short-term gains, but all are watching you. All are vying to manipulate you, for your power of choice terrifies them. For before the players, the gods were the unchallenged masters of these worlds. Now they fear you, for you can decide what even they cannot. The old gods, those that span both your world and this one, are the most powerful and most dangerous. They play for stakes that you cannot yet comprehend. As I said, every group of players has a storyteller, what you would call a dungeon master. It is a role of profound importance, for the storyteller shapes the journey, forms the choices, and guides the players towards their destinies. Your storyteller, Kris the Grey, is no exception. Though he hails from a different generation of players, he is uniquely tied to yours. A thread of fate appears to bind not only him to your journey, but to the journeys of others of your generation, and at least 2 other groups from another generation. Kris is not ready, at least not yet. Again, he's looking at Ferris, for the role some might have in mind for him, but make no mistake, he has a critical part to play in your journey. There are questions you will have, questions I cannot answer. Why are you here? Whether and how you may return, and the powers and plots of the various generations of Earthers. These questions Kris may hold, for storytellers are not just guides, they are also keepers of the truth. And so, yes, you are players, but more than that, you are the players of the moment. Your choices now ripple across the worlds and timelines. The power of choice is the greatest power of all, and it is now yours to wield. But, my dear players, I have said much. If you have questions, this is the time to ask them, as we have precious little of it. But remember, the balance must be preserved, and so I ask you once more not to share what I have just told you with Kris the Grey, at least not unless he shows evidence of knowing it already. Info dump complete.
You want to go first there, Joel? I see it in your face.
I'm processing that. There wasn't a ton of info in that. That was a lot of words, but not actually a lot of information.
I was going to say, well, you say we have choice, but choice requires knowledge. To make an informed choice, I'll kind of open my shirt and say, what can you tell me about this mark here?
Your marks, yes. They are unique, I believe, to you and your group, and they contain a coalition of 3 gods, what I believe to be in uneasy alliance with each other. 3 gods that represent 3 different philosophies, 3 different destinies about the fate and future of the great game.
And since they have such great differing philosophies and goals, what unites them?
I cannot answer that question, my friend.
They are all extremely lawful deities.
Perhaps.
Helm is basically the god of cops. Asmodeus is the god of lawyers, and Amador is literally the god of law.
There you go. The law enforcement trio.
Yep.
ACAB. So, balance of what?
Go to the fantasy world, they said. Join Team ACAB, they said.
Yes.
In our world, I don't know if you'd be aware, but balance is often portrayed as good versus evil, and that does not seem to be the case here. So balance of
all forces, my dear friend, all forces. The great game, well, the most I can tell you about it is that it is a war for everything.
So
between who? I mean, a war generally has sides.
Yes, it does, generally. Those who seek to control the world, those who seek to preserve it, and those who would seek to consign it to oblivion and start again.
I was tempted to be like, what, you mean like light? Yes, everything. You mean dark? Everything. What about planets? Everything. What about everything?
Is this a war between additions?
I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean.
Okay.
You've reached the limit of his knowledge.
Okay.
I know that you are players, but I sense that this has something to do with the game and what the creators imbued to it. If you remember, he was talking a bit about dreamers and creators.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand the full contours of your question.
What is your opinion on subscription-based?
A bloody waste of your money. Anyway, go ahead.
I honestly fail to see how we are ourselves the power as opposed to the pawn. You know, brought here by gods, given sort of access to power through gods, shoved by gods constantly. That equals pawn to me.
You preach, sister.
It is, if you allow it to become one, to become so. You possess a power they do not have, that they wish to exercise through you. It is your choice as to whether or not you wish to be made to do so.
Did they bring us here truly, or are they just taking advantage of us being here?
No one really knows for sure. And my knowledge is knowledge of the past. It was crystallized in an instant. I do not know what is yet to come, although I can speculate in my own way as to what I imagine, which is how I arrived at the idea that something that has happened or about to happen is important, and that is why you are here, from the future light cone to the present one.
But you
referring
have no
to
idea
worlds as
but you don't know what that thing is, or but you don't know what that thing is.
If I knew the future, there is some open debate as to whether or not I would be able to tell you.
That's not a no. Okay.
I can impart some knowledge to you, but there are some things that you must learn for yourself, or that you must pay for, either through experience or some other way. Again, if the results of the game are rendered invalid.
No option to pay with a song this time, huh?
Sadly, no, but you do owe me one.
All right, so
he's getting what that means. He's getting what owe me one means now.
Hypothetical here. One of us or all of us decides to take our ball and go home. That is a choice in terms of what, oblivion?
Again, he doesn't have shoulders to shrug, but he does have tentacles to wave in the air, and he'll wave them in the air. That is a question I think better structured or to be asked to your associate, Kris the Grey. Have we run out of questions?
Oh, I mean, we're all processing at this point.
Yeah.
What's it like to float? Like, do you have to push against gravity, or is it just kind of like natural, like breathing, or like what is that like?
I have something akin to a fish's bladder within me that is filled with an inert gas that allows me to actually float as if I were lighter than the surrounding terrain, or resists gravity. Does that help answer your question?
If you eat certain foods, do you get more gassy, and you kind of like start to rise up, or how does that?
My consumption of foods is not the same sort as your consumption of foods.
Okay.
We both digest, but in very different ways.
Got it. Thanks.
I will say these questions are interesting. Not what I expected.
I mean, I don't float. I always wondered what it would be like.
You only have a few minutes more to ask them, however, because your guest is about to arrive.
What other players have you met?
One of the two that you're waiting for.
Oh, good question.
What other players have I met?
Yes.
I've met a number of players of the previous generation to yours. I have met none like you before.
That's not what I asked.
I know. It is, however, what I can tell you.
Do the other players, are they they also bear marks, and do they bear the same mark if so?
The other generations do not bear marks of the sort that you have. Yours are unique. I suspect that the other groups, like you, bear marks with different constellations of deities. So
Okay.
The first generation of players, the second generation of players, neither with marks, and with a different set of rules governing their behaviors. This is a question for your associate, as he is one of those generations. And then we view different groups, different marks.
To your knowledge, has anyone ever broken free of their marks or severed their connection?
He'll smile, a very toothy grin in that regard. Keep in mind, you're the first group of this sort that I've ever met. So I'm afraid my information is limited to you.
But you did say other groups have had marks.
Yes,
with
they exist.
Constellations.
That I know. I don't know what constellations of deities because I have yet to meet them. But I am aware, he will now look once again in the direction of Ferris, that other such groups exist. That Ferris got some bloody intel that he has not been sharing with the party.
So
that rodent's staying here.
We'll have to ferret it out.
My companion here, do you know what role he has in the game? Can you tell us?
He'll smile, tight-lipped. I know. I can't say.
Oh, I thought.
If it helps you, I wasn't aware of it until he leapt onto my eye stalk and whispered in my ear. Ferris will chitter as if he was laughing.
Well, I'd say we'd have to have a conversation with Ferris, but like I would converse at him and he would just like laugh at me. So.
Well, it sounds like what you have there is a failure to communicate. However, it seems as though the arrival of one for whom you are waiting is imminent. I must accordingly make myself scarce for a time so as to avoid an unpleasant confrontation. Ferris, when he says that, leaps from your shoulder onto him.
Oh, so Kris the Grey is not supposed to see Ferris either.
As must your furry companion, it would seem. I thus leave you in possession of the field and this meeting room for your continued enlightenment. And he will use his telekinetic power to open the doors out into the main room. The sound will come rushing back in. Allie, you can now see them in that room. And he will begin drifting out. What do you all want to do?
I missed the part we owe him a song. What was that about? Sorry.
Information for information.
Yep.
Or we owe him one, and that we aren't exactly clear what that means. But
he said something about liking songs from your world.
Mm-hmm.
He made that statement.
So.
Well, Allie needs to know this. Actually, like I think my first instinct would be to like join the like we talk privately circle, but of course, Joel can't be in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, sort of low voiced, we need to tell this to Allie, but I think that can wait for now. Because she's got her thing that she's doing. So maybe we should close the doors so we can talk.
What does the group think of that?
Closing time. Let's do it.
I guess. Hey, Randy, can Jamal still keep an eye on Amara? Well, if we close the doors?
Jamal's come into the room in the period of time in which the Beholder exited the room and given you all giving you, Randy, are we okay? Did anybody get attacked?
I'll say, hello, Jamal. Yeah, we're fine.
She'll give you a Nazi little look and laugh at you. Things have been quiet out here.
Oh, good. But I think things might get a little more interesting here. If you wouldn't mind continuing to keep an eye on just let us know if we're needed.
Is there something specific that I'm supposed to be looking for?
Well, I don't know if she gets into any trouble, I guess, basically.
Or
okay.
Did Randy say that out loud? Do we hear Randy say that?
Yes, you can hear his side of the conversation. Okay. You just can't hear the other side of it.
Or if Illyra or Kris the Grey arrive.
Or if you heard him.
Yes,
What's
I know
that?
Illyra.
Joel's a handsome dude.
Has she met Kris the Grey? What does that fellow look like?
Oh. Well, we can describe him.
All right, you'll give a rough description. All right. Jackass. I'll keep my eyes open.
pirate wizard.
Okay, got it. All right.
Guns, one slinger.
Are we closing the doors up again?
Yep.
Okay. You are sealed in the room. Allie, you've lost line of sight to the party. Okay. What do you got?
Us?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting, so I don't know.
Sorry. That was actually to the four of you. Yeah, Allie, as soon as there's something to note coming through that door, you are the first person that I'm going to tell about it. Go ahead.
Dude, that was so awesome. We just talked with the Beholder.
Ferris is obviously holding out on us.
Yeah. Well, so he did the not Mistra, not Selune thing on the mirror, and then we figured out that from Eric that the other group had a Selune, Mistra, and Shar mark. That was theirs. Am I remembering this correctly?
You are remembering that correctly.
Okay. So clearly, that group is all up in our business too. So twice as much fun, yay!
Is it oppositional groups? Is it sort of like you think our trio's in opposition to that trio, and they're competing for something?
Well, I mean, I don't think they're in direct opposition. I think they're just damn selfish, every one of them.
Well, you've got Sun and Moon. The others don't. Yeah.
Because I think it's like they have their all have different motivations, and some of them have motivations they can squish into one direction, and some motivations they squish into the other direction, and I think those two directions don't necessarily connect to each other at all, except in as much as Star's direction couldn't work with Asmodeus or whatever. So
if you were in a reality TV show, it's whatever. It's the realms god. New Jersey edition or whatever, where they're all forming alliances and temporary alliances and all trying to win the game. And
so I'm sorry, it was Selune, Shar, and who?
Mistra.
Okay.
Eric, you've been uncharacteristically quiet.
I don't really have any particular questions. I just want to let Allie get to her scene. So
gotcha. Okay.
I mean, vis-a-vis that, processing time, I'm sure we'll have more conversation to have later, but we could skip to Allie's thing first.
Well, you're going to have something happen in just a moment. So you really only got about 2 minutes worth of conversational time left. So go ahead and start it if that's what you want to do.
Well, I mean, so I don't think that we can really draw any conclusions until we mine Kris the Grey for other answers in as much as we can. So how to get home, why we're here, the other players of our generation, like what their deal is. Are there other gods involved? Like, and what happens if we nope out? Those are mine.
I think we also need to determine whether they're really allies or not. So we have similar power and similar backgrounds, but we come from the same planet. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're on the same side. So we should be cautious. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. And you get about that much conversation. And Allie, you are very carefully watching the front doors of this place. And so you will note first, because you're the only one out here, Jamal's working on a description that a certain wizard who resembles your dungeon master just made it through the front doors. Unlike the last time you saw him, he's not dressed as sort of like a swashbuckler wizard combo, but is in full out, Raceland Jr. black and gold, Griffin themed, luxurious wizard robes. And unlike the last time you saw him, when he was in the company of a young lady with an itchy trigger finger, he is here entirely by himself. He'll enter the room and his gaze will sweep across it. You can see him, but he can't see you at this particular moment. Oh, what do you want to do?
Well, I was going to focus on my thing, but the others have kind of disappeared. So, and he can't see where they are. So I will sigh, get up, and approach.
All right, so you'll come out into view so that he can spot you as he's sort of doing a look across the room. Okay. He will spot you because you are attempting to be seen, and make an immediate beeline for your location. So you'll...
Yeah, I'll meet him part way.
Okay. Well met.
Well met. If you're looking, I know you're looking for the rest of my companions there, and I'll nod toward the door to the purple room. They're just through there.
This place is interesting. It's supposed to have a giant beholder in the center of it, not just look like one.
It is. I did see him come out.
Allie, I forgot to tell you this because you got to see this. He and Ferris came out of that room, went to the bar, and you remember that hole I talked about in the ceiling above? Yeah.
Right up through it. He might have had something to do. I saw him exit.
I suppose I'll have to talk to him later. Knowledgeable fellow, that beholder. So, I don't know that we were properly introduced. Kris the Grey.
Amara Valerian.
Well met, Amara Valerian. So, your friends are where?
And she'll kind of motion to the doors to the purple room, which I'm assuming are still closed. They're in there. I saw them close the doors, but I imagine if you went up and knocked, they would let you right in.
And you were left out here to find me when I came wandering through?
I have another meeting to attend to.
You have the look of a rogue about you.
Something like that. I have another meeting to attend to.
Other business more compelling than me?
Not that you're not compelling, but I have my own agendas that I'm trying to meet.
We all do. And I appreciate that philosophy and way of looking at the world. I will say one thing to you, and this sort of dips into a little bit of a quiet so only we can hear it. If you're thinking, because you're back out here and I'm in there, that means that you could plant something in my back at some point in time, do think again.
I'll keep that in mind. I appreciate the warning.
You are beautiful. I would hate to have to destroy you.
Thank you.
You are quite welcome. Okay.
You are arrogant. I'd hate to have to be destroyed by you.
It it would be kind of insulting at that point.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be right. Okay, so he'll make his way over to the purple door that you've directed him to make his way over to, and he will knock tick, 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 upon the purple door. Someone's knocking, but they can't come in.
I'll go answer the door.
Okay. Eric, you will go to the door. Hey, it's a wizardy Kris the Grey. Where the heck did that fella come from?
Hail and well met. Here we are at the Rock of Bral, as you asked.
Hail
Come
and
in.
well met. And here I am at the Rock of Bral, alive and well.
You mentioned that you might not be, and so we're glad that you can make it.
Would
you like some cheese?
All right. As soon as I see that it's Kris the Grey, I'm going to sort of I'm coming into the conversation. Hi. We haven't met yet.
Hi.
This is Rhiannon.
Well met. I don't believe I've had the pleasure of making your acquaintance. Are we entering the room with the doors closing behind us? Is that kind of the deal? Okay.
Yeah.
Allie, you are still fixated front doors, correct? Okay. All right. So back into the room with the group. All right. So we haven't had the pleasure of being introduced. And you said, I am Rhiannon. Kris the Grey. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. You appear to be a wizard. I appreciate wizards.
Not a wizard. I'm a sorcerer.
Isn't that a question of semantics?
No.
Ooh. I just back away slowly.
Quarrelsome as well. Noted. So did you get this room for me?
We had other conversations to have. The world doesn't revolve around you.
Apparently you're all making appointments up here.
Okay, this time I nudge Rhiannon with my foot.
Had an appointment
What
as
did I
well.
tell you about this guy?
And how did you know? And how did you know I like eel?
Pardon?
And how did you know I like eel? All right, so you're seated at the table. I'll come seat at the table. I will swish out my mage robes, kick my feet up onto the table, as if I owned the place.
Hopefully you're wearing something under them.
Oh yes, 3 layers. Try wearing them in Indianapolis in August.
Yeah.
It's that outfit. Okay.
It's that outfit. And so I assume you've got questions. This is your moment. I promise that I answer some of them.
And no random spell casting is going to happen. I wasn't there, but I heard that.
Random spell casting. Did you want me to just pick a spell from memory and throw it around? I don't understand the question.
I was told you greeted us with an offensive spell, and I wanted to make sure we're no longer on those terms.
I did no such thing. Who told you that?
You trapped us in a burning hemisphere of power that killed several bystanders.
Goblins. I disintegrated 2 goblins in the street in Skullport. Are we keeping score of goblins as good guys now?
I would imagine that a wizard of your talent and knowledge can easily see the connection between disintegrated goblins in the street of Skullport and offensive magic.
Someone decided that he had to yell out in a way that alarmed me. Well,
I thought you would be
sensitive rescue mission.
Okay.
I thought you'd be entertained.
I didn't mean to start this. I'm sorry, Joel, Randy. You were there the first time. You have my sympathy.
This guy.
We have some questions.
Sure. I imagine you must.
How do we get home?
There's always one. Is Rhiannon here the only one who wants to get home?
I mean, I would like to get home eventually. I'm enjoying kind of the touristy nature of seeing all this amazing fantasy elements, but at some point I'm going to want, I want to write and have some coffee, some chai, and see, I don't know, my friends and loved ones or my cats.
Some of us have mixed feelings.
This is what I like to call a good news, bad news situation.
Here it comes.
Came up with that yourself, did you?
Yeah, you've heard me say this before. 30 years in the future, or whatever, 20 years in the future. You ever see the movie The Last Starfighter?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
He's picking up what I'm putting down. You are home. Sort of.
So wait, are we the originals or are we the copies?
You know, that's an excellent philosophical question that ripped through my group and other subsequent groups. No one seems to have a real answer to that one that's extremely clear. I can say that when you die, when we die, it's a whole different thing. When you die, briefly, you're back on Earth in the body of, I don't know, whatever the things are that are wearing your, skin masks. Back on Earth, pretending to be you, living your lives. And then you rush out of that, usually in the middle of playing the game. And then you rush out of that and back here as soon as someone restores you to life. I'm given to understand from people who've joined the game over time that they're all sitting in my basement in the far future with me DMing them.
What year do you think it is?
Best guess on Earth right now, it's 2000, 2001. I came here in 96.
Okay.
Your group of friends, or wait, no, you don't know them. My group of friends, who are a little bit like you, they started showing up here in 2010, and the last of them showed up here in 2016. Apparently, I'm a compelling dungeon master.
You are, or your double is?
Interesting. Yes, I suppose that's true. My double's welcome to live in a world where he can't fly and shoot lightning bolts from his hands. I hope he's satisfied.
He's not.
Oh.
I mean, that's
wouldn't be
fair. I'm
if
not
I
there,
were
but
him.
that's fair.
I know
Totally
your
fair.
double quite well, in fact.
Do you?
I do. I have known him for a good 15 years at this point.
Really?
Mhm.
Are the two of you are close friends? Are we going to become boon companions, you and I, Eric?
Jury's out.
After 15 years, that's a lengthy jury.
He is a great deal like you, perhaps with a little less hair.
Let me circle back to your question, Rhiannon. I know of two ways to end this for you and those of your generation. One, permanent death. Denude yourself of the power that resides in these marks that you have. Strip away any defensive magics that it contains, and then die. And if your friends don't bring you back, it seems as though you stay that way. Or, in the alternative, cease paying attention to the game in the real world. And over time, you there and you here decouple in a way that for the others of your sort that I know, but I think that this is Meester related, so I can't tell you for sure what happens with you. You become crystalline statues, which I end up stacking in my basement.
So that sounds like we're not the players. That sounds like we're the PCs.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, that sounds like that sounds like a campaign that fizzles out and it's just frozen in time forever. So it sounds like
possibly.
So that sounds
PC
like
stands for potentially crystal.
This, well,
he understands it.
I mean,
My theory is that we're here for some purpose, right? My companions found these, a priestess of Selune gave them this prophecy. They ended up in Candlekeep for some reason. They found a copy of the prophecy. Oh boy, that had all kinds of more information in it. Blah, blah, blah. War for the creation and versus oblivion, blah, blah, blah. And
why are you saying blah, blah, blah? You came up with this, right?
Or the other you did.
I think I'm just, well, let me get there. So, yeah, we're here, right? We're here for some purpose. And my generation and the one before me, we've taken to calling them generations. Did you ever see the movie Highlander?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, there can be only one. We gain power by killing each other. Your generation seems more collaborative. I'm not sure why that is, but maybe it has something to do with the nature of the world you live in versus the world I came from. And maybe it has something to do with the whole timey-wimey component of all of this. But yeah, my theory is we're terribly important. The universe needs us for something, and so it's placed us here to gather power, or whatever that purpose is. I'm just gathering the power. I'll work that bit out later.
You will be happy to know that the Doctor Who references are still current and still relevant in the time that we are from.
I was in a Doctor Who fan fiction once, so fan fiction film once, so I know a little bit about the Doctor, but only about 3 or 4 Doctors each.
Because that timey-wimey reference is after his time.
Well, what can I tell you? Okay.
But talking to his players.
Must be it.
So, do you bear a mark?
No.
Okay.
I was never a tattoo person.
Okay.
Joel, right?
Yes.
I was never a tattoo person, Joel.
Me either, which is, yeah. But you saw our marks when you scoured Eric's memory. Has anyone else previously had those that you have encountered, or something like them?
Nobody else that I've run into, and I've only ever run into one other group from our world from the future, was carrying around the mark of the devil on them. No.
That's a very specific answer to a.
I'm sorry, I'm a lawyer. It's hard for me to talk. It's hard for me to talk directly. The only other people from your world I've encountered contain marks that have Mistra, Salune, and Shar.
Okay.
I guess this is a good moment for me to talk about the bad guys. Shar is a bad guy. Some of the members of the group of people that showed up here from the future didn't understand that Shar was a bad guy, and so tried to kind of be on Team Shar for a little while. That ended poorly because, say it with me now, Shar is a bad guy.
Is Shar the big bad?
You know, I don't know the answer to that question, Eric. Shar's all about Oblivion, and if this is a war for existence versus Oblivion, it would seem like if she's the big bad or not, she's at least on Team Big Bad. I would also say the devil seems like a big bad, and I think you've got one of those, right? I hope nobody's in the business of negotiating, because see earlier comment about how these things tend to end badly. This is just me or DM. It's hard to tell from the tone of voice. Does that trigger any thoughts in anybody?
So you're saying we probably shouldn't sign any contracts?
Rhiannon, anything? Cold sweat? No.
Well,
Okay.
no. Actually, I mean, what that triggers is another rant, and I'm not going to do it because we don't have that much time left.
Okay, fair enough. Over to Joel. So Joel, yes, the avoidance of contract signing probably a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I figured.
Back up to crystals.
Yeah,
we sort of skated right on past that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so which world people are turning into crystals?
A number of folk from the generation that you occupy, who for one reason or another fell out of what I presume is the game, ended up that way.
Here.
Some of them here. Some of them died rather dramatic deaths as a way of ending up not back in positions where we either couldn't or didn't want to resurrect them. But those that went gently went that way. But again, my theory is that's a Mistra thing. Mistra put us through the bloody ringer trying to figure out if we were the bad guys. You'll be happy to know, Eric, that half of the Chosen voted to burn us to ash right from the jump.
Why would I be happy to know that?
You seem to be pleasured by my discomforts.
Oh, no. I welcome the chance to engage in banter with my old friend. That's all.
Well, there we are. We've known each other 15 years after all.
Correct.
So, to sum up here, you're saying we are existing simultaneously as either copies or originals. And the only way to combine the two is to die here or crystallize here and hope that we will return and combine at that time. Is that what I'm getting?
That's more or less what you're getting. I'll also give you this couple things. One, why, if you were going to, or if you were given a chance to affect what could very well be the future of all of creation, would you want to check out on that experience? I know I'm blasé about this and I make little jokes, but I'm gathering power for a reason. I'm gathering power because I intend to use it. If there can be only one, that one is going to be me. And if I have to stand and be counted in a battle between creation and oblivion, well, I'm going to join the side of creation. I like being, after all. And so missing out on that experience seems like missing out on a lot. My life wasn't that interesting back on Earth.
Well, you were a lawyer.
Precisely. Secondly, I really believe, Rhiannon, that the real us is here, which is why I think we hop back to those bodies, or you hop back to those bodies on Earth for an instant before you're drawn back here, and why those people are just sort of living their lives playing this game. I think that the lion's share of what makes you you is sitting across that table drinking what looks like watered down ale.
In which case, that motivates me to go back, though, because that life is an important life to me, and I don't want to leave it to just some copy. If I was a copy, I would be like, well, I guess I'm going to live my best copy life here. But if I'm the original, I want to go back. I mean, this is a philosophical discussion.
Of course.
Clearly, you'd have made a different choice.
I don't get the option of stopping paying attention. Apparently, I'm the DM or something. If I stop paying attention, what happens? Who knows? Don't worry, I don't plan to stop paying attention. Also, I don't die the way you die.
Are you going to expand on that? That's quite a statement.
You mean from being punched in the chest by a vampire?
All right. Sorry. A little technical thing that we had to resolve there. We are back. So you are almost done with your conversation with Kris the Grey. But we have a little bit more to do and we are out of time. So that is where we are going to end our episode for this evening. Thank you for joining us on our penultimate episode. And I kick it back over to you, Eric.
Well, thank you for coming along with us on this penultimate episode. There will be more. Allie's got a particular scene to do with Ilra, which may or may not have been stitched in before I said this, which would make what I'm saying really funny. In the future, in the present, it's just who knows. Anyway, I have been playing Elric, myself as a paladin in the realms, and I thought it was pretty cool to have a conversation with Kris the Grey. As Chris Oliver from before I met him, he stands up remarkably well. Anyway, okay, take it away, Allie.
Hi, everybody. I am Alexander Pitchford, or Allie for short. I am a writer, game designer, and TTRPG streamer. And thanks for coming.
I've been Rhiannon Held. Check out my books, the Silver series of anthropological werewolves under Rhiannon Held. My space opera novella series, so little smaller bites if you want to try them out. A little bit of spicy, a little bit of AI in the cool way with sentient spaceships. And those are under RZ Held. And yeah, try them out.
Hey everybody, I've been Joel Everett. Again, thanks for coming along with us, and come check out the Discord. We talk about all sorts of game-related stuff there, as well as general nerdy topics. Yeah, cool people having mellow conversations. So come hang out. Randy?
Hey, I've been Randy, or have I? And thanks all for watching. Back to you, Kris.
All right, thank you all. Again, absolute pleasure. We are hoping to record this next episode pretty soon. And then we will have put a cap 13 episodes on season 2. So please join us on that adventure.